patriot in this motherfucker. Changed his name. Oh my God. That's right, motherfuckers. It's the motherfucking News Underground. It's your boy, Abandoned Nihilism. And this is the real news. Only thing I want to sell you is nightmares. Only thing I want you to buy is pain. Pain now or pain later? Can you handle this? Big props to Ryan Celsius, and of course the movie Edward Scissorhands. The artist was Pressure, song Illusions. Wonderful track. Thank you, Ryan Celsius, for your excellent visual remixes. You have captured the aesthetic of the underground so well, Ryan. Thank you for letting me show that video. Hopefully you will. Cal Godot, welcome to the stream. Totally new identity, I see. That is one of the big benefits of these insane social media systems. Just change your name. I gotta ask anybody's permission. All right, everybody, welcome to the News Underground. Like I said before, I am Abandoned Nihilism, aka the Harbinger. Harbinger of what? Harbinger of reality. And it's not looking good, folks. If you want to break things down to a very simple binary, which commentators like to do because it's snappy, I'll do it today. But if it's Trump or Biden, it's the choice between the start of a new American order, an unchangeable, for a long time at least. It will take decades to fix what these people want to break. It might already be too late with the Supreme Court and their ruling on regulatory agencies. That might be the straw that breaks the camel's back right there. So we have that, or the continued insufferable status quo provided by the neoliberals. And if you're like, insufferable, what are you talking about? I'm doing all right. Well, then I'm happy for you that you found a way to navigate this economy. It is not fair for everybody. And in fact, it is unfair for a grand majority of people. What I'm trying to say is that the system that the neoliberals wish to perpetuate is unsustainable. Fascistic in its own way, but more fair to call it corporatism. You know, reality is you can't sell anybody anything if they're broke or dead, right? So it is interesting to see corporate interests sometimes align with progressive values, because it's like, yeah, well, it's kind of hard to sell people luxury vacations and Apple Watches when they can't afford produce. So there's like a bare minimum of like consumerism that they want to be able to cover, right? It's your boy Lenny. Welcome back to the stream. #1 new streamer on the platform. Thank you, Lenny, for stopping in. Lenny, real quick, now that I have you here, let me show you something that's very important that you need to do if you care, if you want to save your live streams longer than like 7 days. Do you want to, you know, back up your live streams? Do you want to put that on your YouTube, or don't you? Because I can show you how to do that right now. I'm concerned that these... Sure, okay. Let me just show you really quick here, Lenny. Just going to do a quick tutorial for Lenny. This will take 5 flipping seconds. If you don't have the patience, I get it. That's fine, but I don't care. I'm helping my boy Lenny out. So here you have your Twitch channel, right? So what you want to do here is go to the top right, your name. It's kind of hard. It's kind of, you know, over to the right here. But you want to go over to your name over here and click Video Producer. So this is a feature that lets you actually edit clips. You can edit like small parts of clips and publish them. So as you can see, this is the stream we're doing right now. Once it's over, I'm going to click Publish, and then it'll publish it for like 7 days or so, and then delete it. So once you've clicked Publish, it'll look like this, where it'll have a highlight button. So once you've published it and it's ready to go, because it takes about a minute after your stream for this publish button to work properly. So if you click it and it doesn't work, just wait a couple seconds. Try it again. But anyway, once you got your clip here, you see how it says expiring in 6 days? So I've already done that. I've already done that with this clip. But what you do is you click on the hamburger menu over here, this little 3 dots, and you go to export right here. And then whatever your title, you can change your title, description. This will go into the description of the YouTube video. And then visibility, obviously, you want to make that public. You don't want to make that private, unless you do want to make it private and you just literally just want to back up. You don't even want anybody to see the live uncut stream. You could do that. But it defaults at private. You want to click public if you want people to see it. And then you could ignore this right here unless you actually want to split the video into 15-minute segments. And then you click Start Export. And then this will export the video to YouTube. So and then you'll get an email. Twitch will say your export has been successful. So maybe I should have made that a little bit bigger. But once again, we got that hamburger menu, export right there. Yeah. So that way you get a whole backup of the whole live stream, and you can edit it later or do whatever the hell you want with it. I kind of just do it for posterity, so that someone in the universe can, 100 years from now, look back at my videos and say, hey, there was actually one asshole on the internet who was calling this shit out. Who's like doing a retrospective on the state of politics or something, right? There was actually one guy who was trying like hell without an agenda to just let people know the real dangers of what the future holds for us. By the way, I have a merch store if you want to buy. I have the prices set to the absolute minimum. I make $1 in profit. It's less than that. I think I make like 70 cents per sale. All right, let's get to the stream here. It's a big U.S. focus stream. Get some new merch. Yes, I agree. I'm going to be updating that very soon. I totally agree, and I will be doing that. And I'll be doing the Patreon. I know I keep saying that, but it is happening. I don't want to provide a Patreon until I'm like, I got like, you know what I mean? Like promises that are going to be kept. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, because you do a Patreon, you start taking people's money monthly. You know, you take that shit seriously. Don't be a jackass, right? You know, oh, I don't feel like doing anything, guys. I'm going to break all my promises. No, bitch, I paid for this. Big props to 3DMG and APOC Chris, Dead on Arrival. We're going to be listening to this album as well as the X-Zoki, X-Punky Eternal album that we've been hearing. So let's get back, do a follow-up on, and this, Lenny, this is right up your alley. I'm sure you've been watching this very closely, but this is unbelievable, right? With these brand new, big, fancy Boeing Max 747. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you. But, you know, with these big, brand new, state-of-the-art planes, loose bolts everywhere. Loose bolts everywhere. So NBC over here, doing Alaska Airlines Corporation a massive favor. A massive favor. Basically, when I see something like this, this tells me this is a massive problem. Okay? Because we're talking, this CEO in this interview, I watched a little bit of it. This CEO fully admits the problem, guys. Whoa! We got a bad one. You know the problem's bad when the CEO gets out in front of the story, right? Gets NBC and says, hey, I want to do an interview with you, and I want to get in front of the story, and fully admits that there's a major problem. Lenny knows what I'm talking about, because corporations never take responsibility, are never accountable. And if you see willing accountability from a multi-billion-dollar corporation, that means you got a big fucking problem. You got a big one, dude. You got a lunker. You got a lunker on your hands, boys. So I normally would be like, because I actually just a few months ago, I was like, you know, people that are all like, oh, I select the plane. I don't get on it. I don't buy a ticket if it's this plane and all that. I'm like, bitch, you're not checking the planes. You're not checking the model of the plane before you get on the plane. No, check the model of the plane. And be like, I want a refund. I don't want to get on this plane. Do it. We're going to watch this interview. It's 3 minutes long. CEO with a big smile on his face being like, yeah, I'm pretty mad at this situation. Yeah, I'm pretty mad. Bizarre billionaire sociopath, as you would expect. But like I said, this shit doesn't happen by accident, okay? This is a staged, arranged interview, and CEOs don't put themselves in front of a camera and say they did something wrong unless they got a big problem. Let's get in it. You're going to love this. This is crazy. You're going to love this, Lenny.
An Alaska Airlines hangar in Seattle, CEO Ben Minicucci took us on board one of the grounded Boeing MAX 9s to see the type of door plug that blew out of an Alaska plane over Portland.
So when all these bolts are in, they're against these stops, that door's not going anywhere.
The NTSB now examining whether Boeing or Spirit Aerosystems ever bolted the door plug in place. In an exclusive interview with NBC News, CEO Minicucci says Alaska technicians have found more loose bolts on grounded planes.
We found, some loose bolts on many of our MAX 9s. So those
many. Many. Okay.
So those are
no. That means all of them. That means literally all of them. And a dangerous amount of them were, about to pop off. That's what that means. Yeah, we found, more than a few. Well, we found many. Many. That means every single fucking one of them. And that means they were like, oh my God. They started pulling the panels off and they were like, there were dozens of panels about to pop off. Like, we avoided a total catastrophe. That's what that means, okay? Remember who is speaking. A multi-billionaire, maybe he's just a multi-millionaire CEO for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, private entity. remember these things.
Have found more loose bolts on grounded planes.
We found, some loose bolts on many of our MAX 9. So those yeah. So those are things that are going to be rectified through the inspection process.
Flight 1282 was a new Boeing MAX 9. The door plug covers an unused emergency exit in planes with fewer seats.
Sorry,
it makes you mad. Tom, it makes you mad that we're finding issues like that on brand new airplanes.
Thankfully, no one.
Well, so is that how a human being expresses anger now? Like, it makes me so mad. It makes me so angry, Brand new airplane falling apart. Multi-billion-dollar investment.
For seats.
It makes you mad. Tom, it makes you mad.
Yeah.
That we're finding issues like that on brand new airplanes.
Thankfully, no one was sitting next to the plug when it exploded.
Looking at that video and those photos, did you think, my God, what if somebody were sitting there?
There were only 7 open seats, and we had a guardian angel, honestly, on that airplane. And I just want to take a moment here to say how sorry I am for our guests on Flight 1282 for what they experienced. It was just a terrifying flight. And also to thank our crew.
The entire company is in danger of like a rebrand or being bought or sold. This is unbelievable. Okay, you never see a multimillionaire from a multi-billion-dollar company getting out front and apologize. He's doing everything but getting on his hands and knees, Japanese style, dude. There's some big time grumblings in the back. This is a whole premeditated strategy right here.
The amazing professionalism and skill of our crew.
The MAX 9 is flown by both Alaska and United, which has also found loose bolts around its door plugs. All MAX 9s remain grounded, hundreds of flights canceled, as the FAA reviews data from the first round of inspections. The FAA chief today would not say when the MAX 9 might be cleared to fly.
Well, we're not putting a timeline on it. Our focus is making sure that it's safe.
In a new statement, Boeing today said, we have let down our airline customers and are deeply sorry for the significant disruption to them, their employees, and their passengers.
Okay. I mean, because, they're saying this because they have multi-billion-dollar customers that are like, you just made us, like, it's going to take us years to recover from this PR disaster. Because of, your cutting corners in your manufacturing of these planes. Folks, I need to remind you, later in the show, we're going to be going over a major change that the Supreme Court is about to make to regulations, to how regulations are done. And, the right wing are making the argument that, we're going to be getting rid of these bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions without without the voters' permission. Of course, the reason why it's set up this way and the reason why they're making those decisions without the permission of politicians or voters is that they're scientists and they go, oh, if we put this chemical in the water, it causes cancer. So yeah, we're going to add this chemical to the list of banned substances that are allowed to be dumped in the water. Oh, now Dow Chemical has to change its process, has to make toys, has to make plastic differently or whatever it is, because they're not allowed to dump this chemical in the water. Well, that costs them a lot of money. They would prefer to not have to spend that money and poison you. And I'm not being hyperbolic. And this is an example of what would happen if regulations are just at the whim of politicians, who are of course incredibly corrupt, and Ted Cruz isn't gonna have any problem sleeping at night if you die in a plane crash, right? Because a bunch of panels flew off a brand new plane from Boeing, and he's also not going to lose any sleep after he passes a law or he removes a law, removes a regulation that removes your family's right to sue Boeing for getting somebody killed because of their really bad airplanes. That the whole system is going to break down. And it's and what the Republicans are doing is they're talking about implementing a system of very similar to like Russia or China, where a single uneducated person can come in and say, oh, yeah, this chemical can go in the water, that chemical can go in the water, making that decision not based off of your health or your family, basing it off of a company that's putting money in that politician's pocket. It's basic shit. It's basic shit. And I'm going to show you an example later in the stream of right wingers defending this. Poison my water. Let Ted Cruz poison my water. Do whatever the hell he wants. Put plastic in my food. That's fine. And they've internalized in their head that this is somehow going to help them. Letting multi-billion-dollar corporations, because they don't put it in their head that it's multi-billion-dollar corporations. They just see it as, as it's described to them as like unnecessary, completely pointless, in the way of progress. Welcome back, strategy member. Let's get back to the clip.
The close call came 5 years after 2 MAX 8 crashes overseas killed 346 people. Boeing promised
MAX 8 and MAX 9. Yeah, I don't even want to get on a Boeing. You know what I mean? This is unbelievable. Those 2 planes crashed because of a firmware update failure. Apparently, according to, I think it was Clutch Cargo who pointed it out, the steering, the yoke or whatever the hell it's called, was stuck down. So this pilot is desperately trying to pull the yoke up as the plane is plunging downward. Unbelievable.
It would double down on quality control. Now, Alaska is sending its own inspectors into Boeing plants to double-check Boeing's work. But Minicucci says Alaska will continue to fly an all-Boeing fleet.
It makes me angry, Tom. Boeing is better than this. Flight 1282 should never have happened. Should never have happened.
No, they can't. They can't. They can't. There's no going back. Do you know how much that would cost to buy a bunch of brand new planes from different manufacturers and just completely throw Boeing in the trash? That would ruin the company. So he has no choice here. So maybe that explains why he's getting ahead of the story, because maybe there's pressure, or he's to proudly all Boeing. Oh, that's why. So they hang that feather on their, okay, this is something they take pride in. And this company is just shitting the bed. The MAX 8s and the MAX 9s having insane problems. So, and he's like, that's not changing. That's simply not changing. So this is how we're going to handle it. This is the PR strategy. Wow.
Fleet.
It makes me angry, Tom. Boeing is better than this.
Okay. I mean, does he know how to frown? Does he know what angry looks like? This man who lives in absolute opulent luxury every single day of his life, does he know what angry even looks like? I'm so angry, Tom. Boeing is better than this.
All Boeing fleet.
It makes me angry, Tom. Boeing is better than this. Flight 1282 should never have happened. Should never have happened.
What about the other two?
And meanwhile, Tom, United CEO said his airline will consider buying from companies beyond Boeing.
That means Airbus, and Airbus is already outselling Boeing. Meanwhile, here in Seattle today, Boeing announced a safety stand-down on Thursday for everybody working on the 737 production line to drill down on quality control and safety as it tries to focus on getting better. Lester.
Thanks for watching.
Okay. Thank you so much, NBC, for that totally wildly uncritical look at corporate malfeasance that can and does get hundreds of people killed, and in one of the most horrific ways. Let's not forget, dying in a plane crash is like jumping in a blender. Okay? So jokers like this, who don't know how to express their emotions properly, who, when people lives are put in danger, he doesn't go, oh, that's bad. He goes, okay, what's going to be the messaging strategy to fix our stock price? Because he can't back down from this Boeing shit. So he calculated, okay, how do we do this? We can't sweep this under the rug. All right, what's the strategy? And he's all too happy to do it. Putting your life and my life in danger so he can have a hot tub and shit. All the nice shit. Whoop-de-doo. I'm just trying to go visit my grandma, right? I'm just trying to go visit my mom. Not trying to die in a motherfucking plane crash. Not that you needed much of a reminder, but I mean, it's really getting to mask off levels of pro-racism. And, it's so interesting. They've just changed all the, terms. So they're not, they're not racist. They're identitarian, or they're race realists, or they're, just whatever terms that they can come up with, right? It's all the same shit, though. It's all the same shit. We're better. We're better than they are because of our color. Our color is integrally. Our color is an integral part of our cultural identity, and that cultural identity is toxic. So if you're a black person, you're raised in a black neighborhood, and by a black family, you're inherently flawed because of the inherent flaws of that culture, unlike the white culture, which is not inherently flawed or less inherently flawed, therefore superior. It's old school shit, dude. Old school shit. And here we have it, man. They just found new language. They found new terms. Listen to this. Matt Gaetz explains why Republicans don't need women voters. For every Karen we lose, there's a Julio and a Jamal ready to sign up for the MAGA movement. He's wrong and he's right. There actually has, if I remember correctly from some of the numbers I've read in the last couple months, there has been an upsurge of Black, Latino, young Gen Z voters that are interested in politics, in right-wing politics. I mean, seeing like the Andrew Tate crew, these Andrew Tate teenagers turn into voters, and they're of course interested in the MAGA movement. This person over here, Kells is right. Oof, yikes. Is she some kind of host? That sounds familiar. I think maybe I've heard that before. But black men and Latino men, they over here saying y'all some suckers. Not sure if you heard. Yeah, it's totally cynical. Totally cynical. Charlie Kirk is incredibly racist. He would deny it up and down and all this and that. But if you really had the opportunity to drill him down on what he believes, the end of the afternoon, it would absolutely be clear that he's racist. If you sat him down for like a 4-hour interview and you asked him all kinds of questions, you gave him all the time he needed to prattle on and on about with his justifications and his redefinition of this old school racist nonsense. But then you drill him down. Okay, so that means that we're looking at the definition of racism here. And he would, at the end of the day, he would have to admit that he believes white people are superior to other people of color. Just thought I'd point that out. Still happening. So I didn't get a chance last week to show this. If you haven't seen it, Trump is making messianic comparisons. It's crazy. He tweeted this video out. Republicans are agreeing with this, of course. This, not all Republicans. This is an extreme that not every conservative gets into. They think these people are a bit kooky, but they're okay. They're harmless, just a bit kooky. I mean, I don't think Trump is God. I just want to put him in charge of the United States forever and remove any restrictions he has on his presidency and basically make him a full-blown dictator. But I don't think he's God. I'm sensible. But it's fascinating to see this. Fascinating and frightening to see this. It really is. Because it's not going to be Trump that people are going to be shooting and killing for. He's just too mediocre. He's just too selfish. The problem is that he's going to get in there, hollow out our government, hollow out our democracy, basically making so that only the right wing could ever win elections in the future. And we're gonna get a real dictator. We're gonna get a real legit dictator, not some nepotism. I mean, he really is. He's just a completely self-absorbed failure. He doesn't really care. He bought buildings, not really because of the investment or anything. He bought building because it was a big billboard to put his name on it. He's mentally ill. And that's actually been a big benefit for the left because he doesn't have a cogent plan. He doesn't even have a cogent ideology outside of himself. It's been a big benefit. And the Republicans see this as well. There's a lot of Republicans that are like, this guy is destructive. He doesn't care about the party. He doesn't care about us. And it's destroying us. Look at the money. Look at the fundraising. So they're pointing this out. But the problem is that, like I said, he is going to hollow it all out and then kick the bucket. And then Ron DeSantis or Ted Cruz or just fill in the blank, even, the Nikki Haley, she would be a full-blown dictator because the framework is Project 2025, the Heritage Fund. Okay. They're planning for a future without Trump. They're like, okay, this is kind of a great setup. Can we keep this momentum going? How do we turn this momentum from Trump into real legitimate gains for what they used to call a permanent majority, aka a dictatorship? Having a cult following is not a political ideology behind him. Yeah, no, I agree, but pointing that out really doesn't seem to do much, So we have to acknowledge that reality, but we need to be reacting to it because there's not enough finger wagging that's going to make this go away. And I'm surely, Mamber, you agree with that. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch this video here. Trump shares bizarre God made Trump campaign video, and then I will show the Lincoln Project's response to it because this is wide open to be ridiculed and also, to be pointed out for people like, hey, like this guy thinks he's fucking God. Are we like really having a conversation about this? I need to remind you, he shared this on his own Twitter because it is one thing to have, whack jobs make videos about you. Maybe one day, if I'm lucky enough, it'll happen to me, right? Because then you really made something of yourself when you get haters who take time out of their day to make videos about you, right? But I can't wait. It's going to be this disgusting liberal is a sexist and an anti-Semite. My entire career nuked. Anyway, let's get to the video here because it's wide open for criticism. Anyway.
And on June 14th, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need some.
I think this is AI as well. They used an AI to do the voice. By the way, this isn't an actual speech.
Somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump.
Didn't do any of that
I need somebody with arms, strong enough to rustle the deep state, and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, have to wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God gave us Trump.
Wow, okay. Wow.
Last spring,
Wow. Okay. Well, right in MSNBC there. Can't even give me 5 seconds. Give me 5 seconds, MSNBC. Are they just running the show over there at YouTube? You can't type in anything without getting 15 MSNBC videos. Is that because I'm watching MSNBC on YouTube? That's probably why. Yeah, quite delusional. Apparently the supper is important. Interesting, though, I've never seen this clip where I've never seen this before. It looks like he legitimately catches her before she falls. Hey, good for Trump. Literally the most decent thing I've ever seen this guy do. Literally, that is the most wholesome and decent Trump clip I've ever seen in my life. And they had it. So God made Trump, guys. when, Trump is going to be the good dictator. He's going to be the altruistic king, right? He is the one that is going to return power to the people. That's the narrative, right? There is literally zero evidence that would point to that outside of the rhetoric. Actionable evidence. I mean, this clip right here is the best you can do, man. He caught his wife as she was tripping. Let me tell you something. You're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, working at Subway, connected to a gas station. Trump doesn't give a fuck about you and will, in fact, make your life harder. How? Trump is going to let the multi-billionaire who owns that corporation, Subway, food company, whatever the hell it's called. Trump is going to lift regulations on that company. That not just regulations on the quality of food that you'll be serving people, which I'm sure you will notice the decline of. Wow, meat's getting grainy and the vegetables are soggy and frozen. And not only that, but Trump is going to lift regulations on labor protections. So your $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year job is now paying you less with less benefits. Look, Biden isn't perfect. And his all touting job numbers, yeah, great. You made a lot of, McDonald's jobs. Great. But he is not actively making things even worse for you. There's a floor there. And if you're like, no, he's making my life worse, you got to come with some facts, man. You got to point out how. Because there's no evidence. There's no evidence that Joe Biden is making the middle and lower class lives worse, but it's not getting better. Right? The prices have come down a little bit for gas and whatnot, but has there been any punishment for the gouging? And, there's some prices that aren't never going to go back to where they were for, essential commodities. Pharmaceutical companies are allowed to completely screw us over in the United States. There's a lot of problem. But I assure you, the Project 2025 plan, the agenda of the Republicans is to make your life even worse. And it's hard to imagine having a couple kids working at Subway connected to the fucking gas station. I know you're out there. But it absolutely will. In a substantive way. In a real substantive way, man. And God help you if you break your leg or someone in your family breaks their leg. Corporations are forced to give you some kind of health care, to put that in the system. What happens when they're no longer, well, that's up to you. You got to pay it for yourself. We're no longer obligated to give you health care. It's not part of your wage. Yeah, we gave you $1 raise. We don't have to pay your health care anymore. Hey, there you go, 50 cents or $1. There you go. But now you have to pay your own costs and there's no coverage and you got to figure it all out yourself. It's going to be a total nightmare. All right, so here's the Lincoln Project response. And just so you know, I'm not a fan of the Lincoln Project. They're basically Republicans that are nostalgic for the neocon George Bush Tea Party era. With that said, they're never Trumpers, and they've been consistently criticizing Trump for a litany of reasons. Really, mainly for the visual stuff, the verbal stuff. I don't see a lot of criticism from the Lincoln Project of some of his extremely conservative right-wing policies. But hey, what can you do? It's annoying to me because this incredibly right-wing organization is all MSNBC and CNN. Oh, it's so funny. Ha, 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 ha. It's a right-wing organization. Anyway.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a man to test the will and goodness of a free people. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who failed in everything but theft and broken promises to live in a golden palace and convince the poor he serves their needs. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a wicked man to lead the common folk with hatred and fear. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a corrupt man who is above the law and immune from justice. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who will use violence to seize power. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man whose followers will call black white, call evil good, and call criminals hostages. So God made a dictator. God said, I need his political party to obey without question, and the press fear his wrath. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a cruel man who uses his power and position to punish and harm his opposition. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who breaks the faith of even his most godly followers and leads them to idolatry. Place him above me. So God made a dictator. And then God said, I sent this man to test you, and until you cast him down, you have failed.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a nice little twist. Yeah, to the folks, to the religious folks that are like, oh, this is all part of God's plan. How do you know Trump isn't some test, right? On your mercy for the fellow man. Do you care about your fellow man? No, you don't care about your fellow man. The moment a tyrant, a selfish tyrant came by and said he was going to hurt all the people that you don't like, you welcomed him with open arms. He was my test to you. Where are those religious folks, right? It's like, oh, no. God sent Trump, and that means God wants to hurt all the people that I don't like. Oh, poker face, come on. Come on, he just wants to fuck his daughter. Unconfirmed. Unsubstantiated. Just wanted to show this clip here. And this feeds into some of the clips I'm going to show you a little bit later. But this is part of that magic thinking that we see from the right wing. Listen to this.
We're going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to make it a crime-free zone. There's not going to be any crime. We're going to have laws. Good news.
Crime-free zone. We're going to have laws. It's kind of similar to Obama, where it was just like a lot of nonsense and gobbledygook, right? A lot of like, non-promises. Like we want to make this better. We want to make that better, without any kind of real concrete promise behind it. It's like this wishful thinking. Thank you, Pokerface. Pokerface, for that follow. Appreciate it. And we're going to see a lot of that. The right wing are utterly convinced that, this is going to, I don't ever really see I see the 1 + 1, but I don't see the equals, right? So they're constantly saying, okay, it makes sense to me. We got to kick all the immigrants out, but there's never any, and then that's going to make my job at Costco better, right? And I'm going to get a raise, or I'm going to get lower insurance, or gas is going to go down. It seems like a lot of angry people who are very frustrated and angry. They're like, those are others. But I'm not. How does that work? How does that work? Mass deportations, put up a wall. And then? Okay, we've done all that. Your life still sucks. Your wife still left you. Your job is underpaying you, and your boss is a 16-year-old teenager who fucking hates your guts. Now what? And we're already starting to see it happen. The snake is already eating the tail. It's on to the next target. It's on that. That's how fascism. Fascism is like a virus almost, right? Because it's feeding off that hatred, and you can't have hatred without something to hate. You get one target, because if the Nazis had completed their little project and got rid of all the Jews, there would have been the next one. Now, it would have been a mass culling from within, right? A purity test. Oh, you're not really this. You're not really that. You're not really this. The whole system functions off of self-destruction and hatred. That's why there needs to be free speech exceptions for fascism. It is inherently destructive. It is like telling somebody to go Roblox yourself. Doesn't matter my life gets worse. It's about making their lives worse. But it's not calculated like that in their head. There's a delusional part to it, right? Because there is no equals. It's just the 1 + 1, and that kind of feels good. But there's no if you try to ask them, okay, how's that? We're gonna get them. Put up that wall. You're working as a mechanic at a automotive shop, changing oil, right, or whatever you're doing. Maybe you're more advanced. What? You're gonna get a raise? What's gonna happen? Oh, the system is gonna get easy. The system is stressed out, and so that's why my taxes are higher, and that's why all these different things. Is that? Are there any numbers? Do you have? Is there any do you have any kind of real concrete evidence as that's what's going to happen? Because wait a minute, if we put up a wall, aren't we just robbing Peter to pay Paul? Trump ordered to pay $83.3 million E. Jean Carroll defamation case. So, homeboy found guilty of sexual assault. Guilty. Fucking guilty, dude. Guilty. Not a rapist, sexual assaultist. There's a distinction in U.S. There's not much distinction in my eyes. He's all up grabbing pussy and stuff, dude. Doing exactly what he was telling Buck. In that, hot mic moment. Hey, grab him by the pussy. They just let you do it. I'm a celebrity. They just let you do it. Yeah, that's a good question, strategy member. I am actually not sure on that. But as much as I want to call him a rapist, because I do agree, it's what's the difference? But, liberals calling him a rapist should probably be careful with that, because it just leaves you open for criticism from the right that you're not a serious person. That's, whatever. Who cares? They'll criticize you, whatever. They'll criticize your goddamn, they'll find something to criticize. When you're a star, they let you do it. So he's already guilty, convicted. That's all done. This is about the defamation during and after, right? Because he's supposed to be gagged. He's supposed to, you're not supposed to talk more shit. Immediately gets up on his social media. Oh, I'm innocent, deep state. They're coming after me. Blah, 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 blah. She's ugly. I would never do it anyway. She's ugly. Homeboy, during this trial, he's on Twitter. He's on whatever, Truth Social, whatever the hell it is. She's ugly, blah, 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 blah. There's a bunch of shit. I don't know the specifics. Was never held in contempt, by the way. Great job, legal system. So I can do that, right? Right? Replace me with Trump. I'm talking shit in the court. I'm literally typing it up. My ass isn't going to jail for contempt, right? I can just do what I want. Well, I'm running for president. Look, I signed a paper. Look, I'm running for president. Ugh. Seems to me like there's two different fucking justice systems. All right, let's get into it. Fox News update. I'm curious to see the framing. I haven't seen this clip, so I'm curious to see if we... Let's see if you've been watching MSNBC like I have, there's definitely a difference. But I'm curious how they're covering this. If they're even going to come to his defense, because there is that. Sometimes they fawn over Trump. Other times they're incredibly critical of Trump. So you never know what you're going to get from Fox nowadays when it comes to Trump. So let's see.
We are waiting to hear. We're getting some new information in right now that Trump must pay $18.3 million in damages to Carroll. So we're waiting to get more information on that. It's just kind of flowing in. So that's why I'm looking down and trying to read the latest at this time.
Yeah, we're getting the same thing here. $18.3 million, substantially above the $5 million that was originally a part of the original case. Andy McCarthy.
Original case, the sexual assault case, right, Mr. Cavuto? Right? The sexual assault case? Is that the one? Are they really? They're going to avoid that, aren't they? They're not going to talk about... Just focus on the numbers. Just focus on the numbers. He's a victim. Focus on the numbers. Oh, where are they going with this?
We're looking for more details than just that, but this is significantly above even the $12 million that her lawyers were seeking. What are your thoughts? Because there's indications here
that bias.
Donald Trump must pay Carroll $65 million in punitive
clear bias
damages.
Here, guys.
So the $18.3 million is in compensatory damages. This thing has exploded on him.
Wow, out of control, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the risk you run Neil, when you continue even after there's been a jury verdict for you on the precise thing.
They don't have
if you're
his
going
back.
to keep, saying the same thing again and again, and it's actionable. You're playing with fire. And Neil, I hadn't thought about this before, but as Alexis was giving her report a second ago, it just occurred to me that it's so unusual to have a trial that's only about damages. And in the normal trial, you have a liability phase, a liability finding, and then you have the damages. You would think in a normal trial, if the jury really wanted to send a message to
maybe
the
they are
defendant, you send
doubt.
that by the verdict, right? By finding the person liable.
Is he injecting doubt?
And the additional damages almost seem like gratuitous is the wrong word, but it's just like the extra, right? Here.
Take it back and take it back. I wouldn't call it gratuitous or anything, but I don't know, man. It's too much for Trump. He just grabbed her by the pussy and called her an ugly hag in court. I mean, what's the problem here, guys? It seems a little unfair. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's unfair or anything, but I don't know. Deeply needs a pro-immigration talking head selling it to them as created an underclass that they can abuse and take advantage of. It can't be that overt. Because here's the thing about conservative people, right? One-to-one, you're talking to them. Say you're stuck on a desert island with a conservative, and you're like, yeah, we got to get food. We got to get shelter. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, Trump says Trump's going to save me. Trump is my savior, and Trump's going to save me off this desert island. They're not like that. Because this is all like some weird game that they're playing with themselves, right? We're dealing with human beings, and we're dealing with human beings that are kind of, like I said, delusional. They're kind of like tricking themselves or fooling themselves into. So you can't. So what I'm trying to say is that the messaging can't be that overt. You can't just be like, yeah, they're the other. They're brown, weird, and stinky, and you don't like them, so we're going to kick them out. That's why a lot of people are, like, unattracted to Charlie Kirk. A lot of conservatives are on it. They're like, ooh, Charlie Kirk and the Nick Fuentes, and they're too out. And, I want it veiled, right? I want to, I want an out. I want an excuse. I want a way to say I'm not racist. Because in my heart, I'm really not. But, it's complicated. It's really complicated.
If they decide, as they did, that Trump deserved to be punished, they couldn't find him guilty or find him liable. The only way they could hit him was to hit him financially, and it looks like they really did.
I'm doing
Help
the
me
math.
out.
It's always
I
dangerous.
grabbed you by the pussy. What can you do?
At least a bit about addition here. If you add everything up, including the 18.3 million, the 5 million originally, we're looking at damages in this defamation case eclipsing $83.3 million. That's staggering.
Nice. Oh, so much.
It is staggering in particular, Neil, because...
Isn't he a multi-billionaire?
Just if you want to get down to brass tacks, and I don't want to be misunderstood as being at all approving of either what Trump allegedly did
what did he do?
The way he's treated Miss Carroll.
What did he do?
But I just have to say, the more times that you engage in this behavior when you've gotten the warning that
and you see, once again, it's all about the behavior, the messaging, the image. Republicans love the fascism. Mitch McConnell, Republicans, the ones that are, the Liz Cheneys, the Adam Kinsingers, right? Oh, it's Trump is too much. Trump is too much. They love the fascism. They love the policies. Hell yeah, boy. Ban abortion, ban it all, ban everything, ban the books. They love it. Radically changing our electoral system, radically changing, the regulatory system. Blasting through precedent, the Supreme Court shitting all over legal precedent. Who cares? They love it. They just don't like that he's, disgusting slob. They just don't like that part. Who's like, unashamed to be a corrupt bastard, basically be the man that they want to be. Trump does have the balls to be the slime bag that they really want to aspire to, but they don't have the balls. They're too cowardly to grab him by the pussy. Trump isn't. He'll go to court. He'll go through the entire thing saying, I didn't do shit. I didn't do nothing. I didn't grab nothing. And once I get into charge, I'm going to change the laws. I'm not going to pay a dime. You're going to pay me to do it. You know, that Ted Cruz doesn't have it in him. Not even Vivek has it in him.
This is actionable stuff and it can run up your bill. You really, truly are playing with fire. He tried to make the case, and if it's just rawly damages you're talking about, it's kind of an iffy case to make, which is to say to the jury, she really wasn't damaged at all by what she was put through because she's become more famous and more professionally successful than she was before. That's an argument that if it works, I guess you hit it out of the park.
Okay.
But if the jury finds it offensive after the judge...
Okay, he's characterizing Trump's argument. That was really his argument? No shit. That she became famous because of him abusing her. Therefore, it's even Stevens? Is no shit. I made you famous, bitch. I made you famous. What are you complaining about now? What are you complaining about? They're buying your books now, bitch. That was his defense in court, dude. Whoa, dude. Whoa. Whoa. You couldn't let that fly on Maury Povich on fucking what?
Professionally successful than she was before. That's an argument that if it works, I guess you hit it out of the park. But if the jury finds it offensive after the judge has told them that another jury has already concluded he committed a sexual assault, you can kind of see
Trump
where
is
they
actually
might
made
get
of magic
carried away
and
with damages.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
those are some staggering sums here. I'm looking at some
the numbers. Cavuto. God, this is so embarrassing. Never mentioning what he did once, and keep going back. It's very obvious what Cavuto did it 3 times during this interview. Keeps going back. The numbers so high. Cavuto's just asking questions. See what I mean? Sometimes it's critical. This was not critical, but this is why your grandpa and why your uncles and why boomers and stuff, you know, and no offense, of course, to the boomers that are not, you know, have not been captured by this, but it's so slick. It's so insidious. You know, Neil throughout this whole thing, totally neutral, just asking questions about the numbers. Gosh, seems like a lot. No mention of what he actually did. God damn, it's slick. It's so slick on Fox News. I mean, we kind of got the whole thing here. Let's get a little bit more from the lawyer. Look, I know if you've been following this, you're sick of seeing it too. But I think this is my last bit about this, and then we're going to be moving on to other things.
Roberta, can we have a few words, please?
Clutching her lawyers, E. Jean Carroll stepped out of court with a beaming smile and an unprecedented amount of money.
Smiling
ear
to ear,
victory,
totally
a
deserve
huge
it.
defeat for every bully
Totally support it.
who's tried to keep a woman down. Donald Trump's motorcade had already pulled off before the closing arguments. In less than 3 hours, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. Trump should pay the writer £65.6 million. Trump was found in a previous civil case to have...
Don't forget, there is a jury selection process that Trump's team is, you know, they're part of that process. They were able to put people that they felt were as friendly and biased towards them as possible. That's what the process is. It's this weird psychological game that they play with potential jurors. There are literally people who specialize, it's their entire job to psychologically profile you and figure out what your biases are, right? Because, you know, are you biased? No, I'm not biased. No, maybe I lean this or maybe I lean that, but, you know, middle of the road. That's what everyone says. But they're specialists in asking you specific questions where you can go, okay, this person, there's a 40% chance this person hates Latinos. There's a 60% chance this person is uncomfortable around black people and all these different things, right? And then they will pick those people, okay? So Trump's team was totally part of this process. And I guarantee you, they went through every trick in the book to try and get the most biased people possible in that jury box. And there was unanimous consent that he was, because there's no question that he was guilty of sexual assault. The only question was how guilty of defamation. And super guilty, money. Oh, it's fake. It's fake. They're all against me. It's all so all the judges, all the jury, even the ones that you selected, even the ones that your team approved, all the evidence fake. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know, we need to stop entertaining this silliness from the right wing that are just, oh well, I don't really pay attention and it's all fake. Okay, well then you're a clown. And you have to admit it, because you're not, you can't just hand wave away 91 fucking counts, 4 indictments. You can't just hand wave away a sexual assault conviction and defamation with evidence and a trial and the whole thing. You can't just say it's all fake, it's all because Trump didn't win. But if Trump won, then it's all legitimate and it's all great. You're a fucking clown, dude. And the thing is that they don't care. There's no amount of me yelling at them that's going to change their mind. They don't fucking care. They're going to implement something that's going to hurt everybody, including them. And they're all going to be like, oh, well, I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know a dictator was going to make my life even worse. And then at the end of the day, who's to blame? The goddamn people on the left that let these jokers take power. The progressive left, if it refuses to challenge the neoliberal Democrat status quo, then you acquiesce to the neoliberals who are failing to stop the fascism that is going to make our lives worse. So yes, it is the left is to blame. We're the only thing left stopping it that could potentially stop this. We have an obligation. Yeah, boycott the. I predict that this election is actually going to have a really, I don't think it's going to be historic, but I think it's going to have a lower turnout. Well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot on the line for this election. That might equal it out, right? But if you were to just take the strength of the candidates alone, right? Trump and fucking Biden, right? It's like, I'm not getting out of bed for those guys, right? But I think there's so much at stake here. I think, I don't know, maybe that will equalize the numbers. I don't know, but maybe we'll be surprised at the low voter turnout, because it's just such an unexciting. I mean, these guys again. Give us Gavin Newsom, man. At least Gavin Newsom can lie to us with a little style.
Famed Carol and sexually assaulted her in the 1990s. Her lawyers argued that by continuing to deny it, her reputation as a trustworthy journalist was destroyed. Trump's lawyer said they'd be appealing and accused the courts of playing politics.
I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James.
She made a fool of herself.
Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York.
Trump will have to pay a sizable sum pending the appeal. He's embroiled in another court case where he's accused of inflating his net worth.
Donald Trump likes to always talk about how great of a businessman he is and how he's worth billions of dollars. He likes to talk about the Trump brand. But in this particular case, that argument actually hurt him, because when it comes to punitive damages, one of the important elements the jurors are to consider is the net worth of the individual and how much damages to award to punish them. So obviously, a high net worth individual merits a higher punitive damages award.
You're rich, so we can
this
pile it
defamation
on, right?
case is just one of many legal battles Trump is
broke.
fighting this year. Also playing out in the New York courts is a civil fraud case where he's accused of inflating the value of his properties for financial benefit. He also faces criminal charges for allegedly falsifying records so he could pay hush money to a woman he'd been accused of having an affair with. Meanwhile, federal authorities are bringing a slew of criminal charges against him around the issue of classified documents that he kept after he left the White House. And he's facing federal and state trials over alleged election subversion in the last presidential vote, which he's accused of trying to overturn. Trump has denied all charges against him and dismissed this latest case.
This is another scam. It's a political witch hunt.
That would be great.
And somehow we're going to have to fight this stuff. We cannot let our country go into this abyss.
No, if he loses the election, he's going to be bankruptcy immediately. Bankruptcy. He's going to be declaring bankruptcy everywhere.
As lawsuits
It's a
against
mad
Trump
dash
are
to the
stacking up,
presidency.
he's on the campaign trail, selling his case for another 4 years.
No.
Reacting to the verdict, Republican rival Nikki Haley says Trump's legal troubles were distracting from fixing the border and tackling inflation, repeating her new attack line: "America can do better than Donald Trump."
No, this is the Donald Trump presidency. This is like the Donald Trump, everything, his entire empire. No, this is the Donald Trump empire as it gets to the end of 2024. This is what it's going to look like. Just barely gets across the finish line. It's like running on fumes, okay? It's all about getting the presidency. It's all about getting the presidency. And if he doesn't get the presidency, he's completely screwed. And I'm talking, it's Trump Inc., everything. The signs, the money, the hotels, gone, dude. Liquidated. It's all gone. By the way, watch Blues Brothers, one of the most amazing movies in planet Earth. It's amazing. Trump, really? Speaking live in Vegas? See here. Yeah, remarks in Nevada. Let's watch him. See what he's got. I'm jerking two off. Woo! Jerking two off.
The whole thing, and we're just going to give you our nomination. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. I want to win it the fair way. Pretty easy way, too, because we're leading by so much. But over 70% of the votes cast for Nikki Haley on Tuesday were brought about, came from outside of the Republican Party. They came from outside. She got about 24%, 25% Republican votes because they had liberals interfering on behalf. They had Democrats voting. They had everybody voting, and we still won by a lot.
It is crazy. It is crazy how he felt the ramifications of this, because he's criticizing the electoral system everywhere he goes. But people are showing up to vote. It's a crooked system. If Trump isn't there, they're gone. If they're not voting for Trump, right? Because to them, a vote for anyone else is not fixing the broken system. Why participate in a broken system?
Was the one shot. The message from the voters of our party is clear. It's time to finish this primary and get going and defeating. And you remember this. We all call it a primary, but I like calling it a caucus because it really is. Your primary vote doesn't mean anything. It's your caucus vote. So in your state, you have both a primary and you have a caucus. Don't worry about the primary. Just do the caucus thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to go on to defeat
he's not wrong. I mean, you got to
very simply
that has totally burned other candidates in the past. Like they get a big showing, but not enough people actually show up to the part where it actually matters to actually put the vote down, and then the neoliberal wins. That's totally happened.
America great again. Make America great again.
How? One thing. Can any Trump supporter give me one thing, dude? Your wages are going to go up.
Remember that, you have a big thing coming up. Don't waste your time on primary. Waste all of your time on caucus. And
They'll do it too.
It doesn't mean anything. It's psychologically maybe a little bit, about 2%, but it doesn't mean anything.
Wow.
With the help of everyone here today, we're going to secure a gigantic win.
No other politician speaks like Trump.
Thursday. So it's Thursday, February 8th, right around the corner this November.
Sorry, his volume is way too loud. Sorry.
We're not going to have a lot of competition, I think, but it doesn't matter. We want to get a great, beautiful mandate. And this November, we're going to win the swing state of Nevada. You ever think of it as a swing state? And we're going to keep the House, and we're going to take back the Senate, and we're going to get a lot of great, talented people here. And we're going to also take back that.
He knows how to electioneer, man. You know, I mean, that he was born for this. He was born to be a presidential candidate. I think there's a certain amount of joy that he gets in doing it. You know, he really, really does enjoy being on that campaign trail and being up in front of that on the podium and making those speeches. God made him for this kind. I mean, it is such an interesting idea. What if God made Trump, right? This weird toxic combination of charisma and fascism, to put it for lack of a better term, authoritarianism, right? What if he put him down as a test of religious people? This guy who shamelessly exploits religious organizations, obviously an ungodly person, obviously, to test the faith, because there are religious people that are like, yeah, no, this guy literally is like seriously the exact opposite of everything I've been teaching my entire life. I can't in good conscience support him. Even though I'm a conservative, I've always voted conservative. There's just no way I can support this guy because he literally stands against like everything. I don't care what he's saying, like his actual action. It's such a fascinating idea. And then like the rapture starts, right? Inauguration day. Like Trump is inaugurated and the fucking rapture starts, right? And those people won't vote after Trump. They will gladly vote for Trump. Once Trump is gone, I mean, the Republican Party is screwed. It's a mad dash for relevancy for the Republican Party. They know. They see the polls. Ain't nobody voting for him. All right, no, we're good. I don't need to hear any more of this crap. Fuck Trump. He's a piece of shit. Roblox. You know what I'm talking about? I hope he motherfucking Roblox is in that motherfucking Roblox. You know what I'm fucking Robloxing about? I love that game. Made a bunch of money. All right, making a bunch of hats in Blender and selling them to a bunch of kids. I'm a millionaire now. Yeah, I made the camo hat in Roblox CSGO. What's up? What's up, girl? I'm a celebrity now. What's up, girl? No. Poker face? No. Got a new sponsor? Roblox? Yeah. Yeah, you bet. I'm Robloxing all day, baby. Marlon Luanda, oil tanker on fire for hours following Houthi attack. Who's Marlon Luanda? Who's that? Are you Marlon Luanda? Who's Marlon Luanda? What is that? Is that the name of the tanker? Is that the name of the show? Are you Marlon Luanda? Anyway, oil tanker on fire for hours following Houthi attack. So this is breaking news, actually. This happened reported just a couple hours ago. But the Houthis are not slowing down. And yeah, I mean, in terms of effectiveness, the only argument I could make was that, it does add some consequences to their further adventures and actions. But clearly, the strikes have not deterred them so far. They probably expected a certain amount of pushback. They would be foolish not to. Marlon Luanda is the tanker. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, strategy member. Wasn't quite sure. Quite sure what the hell we were talking about. It's a professional operation. Pushback. I mean, look, there does need to be a response, I guess. The response should be, though, humanitarian, because it does seem pretty clear the reason why they're doing this. They're wildly upfront about it, which is a refreshing change. They're like, this is a direct response to the crimes that are being committed against the Palestinians. They're pretty fucking clear about that. Oh, we can't let them win. We can't let them win. It's better to commit genocide than to give in to the whims of terrorists. And in this case, I guess, I don't know. They're more pirates than terrorists. They're not, terrorists. Hamas, getting up in one of these ships, doing little mini October 7th on these, turning them into a fucking floating gravesite. Pirates are like, whoa, we're not killing anybody. You know how much, money ransom we could get? You fucking crazy? Don't kill anybody. I mean, shit, dude. I say this without any irony. I would rather be in the company of Houthi pirates than Hamas. Any day. Full beard, and after I've memorized the Quran, I still don't want to hang out with Hamas, dude. You kidding me? I'd hang out with pirates any day. So we definitely have some... What am I talking about?
A fire on board an oil tanker, which has links to the UK, has been put out today after it was...
Wait, I'm sorry. Is this the ship? You literally looked up the damn ship? Oh my God. Okay, so here's the ship. Thank you, strategy member. Wow. Does anyone else have this kind of information on Twitch? This is such a cool show. We're having fun today, folks. Anyway, so that ship's on fire.
Struck by a Houthi missile off the coast of Yemen. These pictures show that fire on board the Marlin Luanda. The Houthis said it was targeted on Friday in response to what they called American-British aggression. The operator of the ship, Trafigura, paid tribute to the bravery of the captain and crew and thanked the Indian, US and French...
My ass would be the only character drowning. I'd eat that stupid-ass fruit, slip in there 2 seconds. I'd be a one-episode, one-off character. I'd be like a joke. Be like, I'm the new character. I just ate some gum fruit. What? Legitimately the only guy who drowns, right? Because the whole thing is that you eat that fruit and you no longer know how to swim, but they're all on the damn ocean. Okay, yeah, back to the... I'm sorry, we got into anime. Who am I, Hassan?
French navies for their help. In a statement, the company said, "We are pleased to confirm that all of the crew on board the Marlin Luanda are now safe and the fire in the cargo tank has been fully extinguished. The vessel is now sailing towards a safe harbour.
All right,
the crew continues to monitor the vessel and cargo closely." Well, this latest incident follows US and UK airstrikes.
Yeah, it's just about harassment. It's not like they expected to sink the vessel.
Houthi targets in response to attacks on ships in the Red Sea region,
that's
one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. The UK government says it reserves the right to respond appropriately. Our diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams has more.
Cleansing.
This is the Marlin Luanda, carrying Russian oil from Greece to Singapore, the latest Houthi target.
No one has that definition.
The Houthis were quick to take credit, their spokesman saying once again that this was being done to support the Palestinians in Gaza and in response to what he described as American-British aggression. It's been 2 weeks since Britain and the US first hit back, striking military targets inside Yemen, aiming to deter the Houthis. So far, the strategy doesn't appear to be working.
So the attack on the Marlin Luanda in the Gulf of Aden signify a great extension and escalation from the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, so geographical extension, and also with the type of weapons. The missile used yesterday was a ballistic missile, and the Houthis started their attacks in the Red Sea using drones.
Shit, I thought it was a drone.
So we're seeing a technological expansion and a geographical extension.
I don't know.
The Houthis are using the attacks to bolster support at home, orchestrating huge rallies on the streets of the capital, Sana'a, relishing this confrontation with the West, something they've thought about and planned for years.
Oh, wow, okay.
They're being helped by Iran. When US Navy SEALs seized a dhow off the coast of Somalia earlier this month, they found parts of ballistic and anti-ship cruise missiles. Diplomats say weapons are also being smuggled through Oman. The Marlin Luanda is operated by a UK-registered company. Here, a government spokesman said Britain and its allies reserve the right to respond. Paul Adams, BBC News.
Thank you, Paul Adams.
Let's hear a bit more from Paul Adams with the very latest developments on that story.
We just heard from Paul Adams.
The multinational company Trafigura, which is based in Singapore, which has been putting out statements on the condition of the vessel, the Marlin Luanda, just a short time ago put out its latest bulletin, and I'll just quote to you from that. They say that we are pleased to confirm that all the crew on board the Marlin Luanda are safe and that the fire in the cargo tank has been fully extinguished. That was a fire that was raging really throughout the night, and I think was a cause of grave concern to the ship's owners, bearing in mind, of course, that this was a ship carrying oil products, and so the possibility of a fire spreading.
Dude, I want the footage. I want the footage. Strategy. Is there, if you ever, you seem to be really plugged into some of this esoteric stuff. If you ever come across any GoPro or security cam footage, because that would be like, oh, we got to put this out right now, dude. We're sitting on a bomb. We're sitting on a bomb, dude. We got to put this out right now. Wow, that is amazing. So, hey, congratulations to the crew of that ship. No one was killed, and they put the fire out. So good for them. Prevented an environmental disaster. Absolute heroes there. I'm going to go ahead and give them the Hero of the Week. Hero of the Week award. Crew of the Marlin Luanda, who prevented a environmental catastrophe, and God knows how many people dying, on the ship and off. Who knows what could have happened there. I don't know, guys. Maybe we'll just have to, do a full-blown, Fallujah shock and awe style campaign, because that fixed the problem in Afghanistan, right? No. Well, can we just blow the shit out of a bunch of places and see what happens? That's cool. We can do that. We're really good at that. Can we just blow the shit out of things and then see what, please? Houthis don't realize the world runs on trade. Yeah, I guess. What are we going to do? These guys are wearing sandals and they're using rusty AKs, and they got a bunch of, clunky ass cruise missiles that they smuggled in from Iran. Really? We're going to blow the shit out of these. I feel like we could probably change some minds with, like, I don't know, making people's lives better. Could we try that? I don't know. Let's just blow them to shit. We'll see how that goes.
Was a very real one. The vessel is now sailing towards what is described as a safe harbor, and the crew is continuing to monitor the vessel and the cargo closely. The statement from Trafigura also complements the role played by the navies of India, the United States, and France, all of whom sent vessels to assist in the situation with the tanker. And in fact, some of the images that we have seen of the tanker today were filmed from the Indian vessel that approached to offer assistance. So Trafigura says, we would like to recognize the exceptional dedication and bravery of the ship's master and crew who managed to control the fire in what
Heroes of the Week
company describes as extremely highly difficult circumstances.
Heroes of the Week.
As well as the essential assistance provided by India, the United States, and French navies. So this was clearly a serious attack. It was an attack not in the Red Sea, but in the Gulf of Aden, which not the first time that's happened, but there are indications that the Houthis are becoming bolder. They are attacking targets in a wider area, and that so far the strategy of the West, of the United States and Britain in particular, to attack Houthi military targets inside Yemen in an effort to deter the Houthis from conducting these attacks on shipping. That strategy so far has yet to bear fruit.
Yeah. Okay, so Pando dude. You talking about, is it Pando, the car? You're talking about the vehicle? That rapper designer did a song about Panda. Is that the thing? But no. Okay, so yeah, you blow the shit out of their HQ. They do it the next day. They fire more cruise missiles and more drones. They do it even harder this time. Then what? Okay. Then, then you blow something else up. Then they keep doing it. Then what? Invasion? It's interesting because, people have seen that the West doesn't really have the stamina. I mean, look at the failure of Afghanistan. Look at the failure of Iraq. The absolute clusterfuck that was Vietnam. It's not a guarantee that the United States is going to have the stamina or desire to take you out. Right? So you can kind of create some leverage there. Or resist the whole world uniting against them for trade. That's not the same as Iraq. And Typer. No, we're absolutely altruistic American exceptionalism all the way, baby. I'm not going to say we don't do things differently. It's interesting when you watch Apocalypse Now, you see footage of Americans committing horrific atrocities while also airlifting Vietnamese civilians that were hurt, to medical camps and, and other, dropping food and stuff. Like we don't fuck with the world in the same way. We do it. It's like we're an abusive father that loves you, right? Like he smacks you up and then he's like, feels bad. And you're like, get away from me. And he's like, oh, but I love you. Democracy in Iraq. We were this close, guys. All right. Convicted Trump aide Bannon takes deep state crusade to Supreme Court. So I'm sorry. Yes, we are going to watch The Beat with Ari fucking Fletcher Melber. Ari Melber. I'm sorry. But the reason why I'm showing you this is that, just to follow up, I constantly mention Steve Bannon. Maybe you don't know who Steve Bannon is, but he's kind of one of the main architects of this new fascist reality that we're soon to be seeing. A lot of his ideas and early, can be found, in some of his earliest podcasts. A lot of the ideas of Project 2025, can be found in some of Steve Bannon's earliest podcasts. He is, one of the top architects or thinkers, really, when it comes to how the Republicans are going to, completely gut our democracy, gut our electoral system, gut these agencies that are blocking their ascension to full control over the entire U.S. government, carte blanche, no question, no resistance, no check and balance, a dictatorship. So he's one of the big idea guys on this. He, of course, worked for the Trump administration for a time, but I guess was too ambitious even for Trump. Trump, I think, kicked him out. There was some other allegations and stuff. I mean, Trump was just, you fired. He's in love with saying that, and he was just firing people left and right. And it was probably a pretty stupid idea. He probably wished he had Steve Bannon on his side during the January 6th fiasco, because that's exactly, Roger Stone and Steve Bannon are absolutely the kind of characters you want by your side if you're going to do some sedition, some tyranny or some traitorous seditious shit. Isn't Bannon's main philosophy like sort of an isolation and extreme populism? It's fascism. I mean, you want to be specific about it. You have fun. Be scholarly. Oh, you're the left. You call everything fascism. No, Bannon wants to completely hollow out our government and electoral system and install a right-wing dictator. Any academic analysis of what he's proposing, what his ideas are, what he talks about on a daily basis would confirm that. But yeah, I don't know. You want to call it whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care what he calls it. He wants to install a right-wing dictator and make our lives immeasurably worse. He's an absolute ghoul. But beyond that, he's incredibly dangerous because he's been more effective than most. We're not going to watch this whole 11 minutes. There's no fucking way I'm getting through this. But we are going to watch the beginning because it is a great breakdown of Bannon, what he's been up to, why he's so dangerous, and What we're seeing in the Supreme Court, what we're seeing the right wing do is exactly the stuff that he's saying the right wing should have been doing from the start, right? Talking about the specific targets, about how we're going to solidify, this party, in a way that our power will never be questioned by some silly democracy. Let's get into it. This is for your own good. Oh, we're not going to see the. Oh, fuck! I almost forgot the footage. Sorry. I'm on autopilot here. Yeah, no, we have to see this footage. Thank you, strategy member. Great job, by the way, for finding this. Thank you. Wow. This can't be the right... What? That can't be the right... That's not the ship. That is not the ship. This is the ship? No way, dude. All right, let's get this real footage here. That isn't the ship. That isn't the... So there's the hit. Great footage. Thank you, member. Great job. Wow, so there's the hit right there. Crew members are like, oh shit, it's on. No way. They keep showing this picture. Avery Fain, thank you for that follow. Okay, we get it. Okay, they're just gonna show this again. Wow, they got it though. They nailed it. No, this is such bullshit, dude. They keep interspersing this footage of a different tanker that was on fire, because this one's on at night. It's at nighttime, and look at the fire. It's completely insane. This is not the same, dude. He keeps showing it. Okay, hold on. There's some other footage here. They keep showing this, dude. Man, you can't look at this. They keep showing this it's zoomed in, out of focus. Come on. We're getting conned here, dude. We're getting jacked. We're getting jacked, yo. This is not it. What the hell is this? They keep showing this. Wow, interesting. So that's how you take a 3-second clip. So they had a legitimate piece of footage. They had a 5-second piece of legitimate footage. A 5-second clip of legitimate footage, and they somehow made it into a 3-minute video. Is it weird to share your waifu with your best bro? I don't, if I'm friends with somebody, I don't want to know what they're masturbating to. I don't give a shit. Keep your cartoon magic girls to yourself. That's what I say. People used to have shame. Like, what do you want to, you busted nuts to this cartoon? All right, that's fine. I didn't need to know that, man. We're just getting drinks, I got to fix my garage door. That's what I'm up to. So you're busting nuts to cartoons. I gotta grease up my garage door. So I'm just gonna drink my drink now. Welcome back, Snow. Been feeling kind of conflicted recently. I want to dress. It's fine. That's fine. Do whatever you want. Get off however you want to get off. It's fine. I'm probably puritanical. I know everyone wants to talk about what they're jerking off to. This is new. This is new to me. Okay. Don't care. Let's build a deck. Can we build a deck, please? Fuck, man. I'd rather build a deck than talk about your waifu, is what I'm trying to say.
And I want to talk to you about something really important that hasn't gotten as much or enough attention as it probably should.
Ship on fire outside Yemen?
Soon. Bad news tends to travel fast. We don't have bad news yet, according to criminal justice
not a Tonkin at all.
Experts.
Oh, it isn't? Yeah. It was not the ship.
The Supreme Court today is hearing a major case that regards a bedrock principle for any legitimate government, which is supposed to protect the public with laws and regulations. Okay. I'm going to keep this very clear.
Focus. Yes.
Laws are written by Congress, of course.
Okay, look, this is important. This is actually a very important breakdown that I'm interrupting here. It is important to talk about the basics sometimes. It isn't because it's important to know where reality is. Characters like Steve Bannon are constantly questioning our reality. They're constantly gaslighting us. Oh, it's not so bad. An authoritarian would actually make our lives a lot better. You cut through all the red tape. You know, the gaslighting, it can sometimes get to us. We have to make sure we know what reality is.
For any legitimate government, which is supposed to protect the public with laws and regulations.
You have good taste,
Let me
keyboard.
keep this very clear. Laws are written by Congress, of course. The big laws can stand on their own. So if Congress bans discrimination in the Civil Rights Act, the government then enforces that law. And while people can debate whether they like it or not, we know what the Civil Rights Act says. The law part itself, the words of that rule are pretty straightforward. Then other areas require a lot more than just an original, generally written law. Take environmental or medical protections. They require a process where the government writes more regulations and technical details that evolve over time as science and reality evolves and changes. That logic is pretty clear. Congress sets a broad goal. We want clean air and water, or we want safe medicine. But then experts who work not in Congress, depending on who's elected, right, but experts who are chosen in the...
So this is important. This breakdown is important because the right wing are saying, oh, these unelected bureaucrats are making decisions that, you know, are that no one asked for, and they're getting in the way of progress and this and that. No, there's a reason why the system is set up this way, and it's so that we don't have biased, corrupt politicians who are working for, you know, Dow Chemical and plastics manufacturers and fill in the blank kind of companies that have a need to pollute to make their product. They'll be making those decisions. Well, Dow Chemical said it was safe. Dow Chemical said that this X17 petrochemical that they're putting in the drinking water is perfectly safe in small amounts, and they're not putting that much in. So I've passed the regulation that it's okay to put X17 in the drinking water. Cutting through that red tape, removing that regulation, you could put that in the, it's not even that big deal. Look, they show me some science, it's good to go. That's the system is built to avoid that. The system was built understanding that politicians are corrupt and biased based off of donations and other things. And it was built in this way to avoid situations where we're drinking, cancerous chemicals because, Ted Cruz had a re-election this year. Okay? Yeah, with that said, Keyboard, thank you for bringing that up, Keyboard Face Mask, because the system's not perfect, and we need to improve it, not destroy it, right? But the right wingers say, oh, it's making your life worse. It's making your life worse. We need to completely eliminate, get rid of it, let industry do what it wants, and then somehow I'm going to get more money. They're going to pay me more money at my Costco job. And no offense to people working at the Costco, working at the gas station, working at the Subway. These are essential jobs. I need sandwiches. I need Costco. I need gas. I'm arguing that you should be treated with more respect. You should be treated better, paid more, given more benefits. And I'm begging you to stop supporting these bad actors that are actively going to make your life even worse. It's hard to imagine, but yes, they will. You're barely getting by, paycheck to paycheck. You got kids screaming. They need food. You got a marriage falling apart or whatever the hell's going on, right? Yes, they are going to make your life worse, and yes, they're telling you that they're not. They're telling you the moment we get rid of this stuff, oh, your life is going to get so much better. They don't say how, but they infect you. They infect you with this magic fantasy. Let me tell you, man, you think you've seen exploitation. You think you've seen the depths. I'm talking child labor. I'm talking you're fired because you're pregnant. I'm talking you got your hand cut off at the job. Well, you're fired and you don't get no benefits, no coverage. I'm talking you're screwed. Hey, Thy Templar, go ahead and put your picture in the Discord if you wouldn't mind. Let's go ahead and take a look at this glass house. Go ahead and pop in the Discord for me, Templar. Give us a selfie, buddy.
The federal government, picked by various presidents in both parties, will define or refine what that means. So to, again, put this very simply, and then I'm going to play you some of what happened in the Supreme Court today. If you think of the EPA or Dr. Fauci, that's all part of that process. And that has been a pretty broadly accepted regulatory and legal process for a long time, about 4 decades of precedent if you're counting the power of federal agencies to do that kind of stuff. But it is now under attack at the Supreme Court today. Challengers are taking the case there. And today's skirmish actually starts with something relevant to what you see on your screen. It's about, in its inception, fishing, specifically rules for fishing. But this case could actually give conservatives on the court.
It could literally be anything. It was just like the abortion case. They shop around for cases that they feel like that they'll be able to make some kind of fastidious argument. I think that's the right use of the word, but make some kind of disingenuous argument. So they shop around for stuff like this, and then like, okay, yeah, now that we got our right-wing Supreme Court, this is the curated case that we're gonna make a big stink out of, and they. All these outside lawyers and outside money come in, and they make a big legal argument, and they make sure it gets to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court justices, the right-wing corrupt Supreme Court justices, they know what's happening. They know what the purpose of all that was. They know how there's, they know what they're supposed to vote on. They know what's going on.
Court a chance to do something that goes way beyond fishing. This gives them a kind of bait, if you will, to gut the existing powers to protect the public on everything from fishing rules to the broader environment to healthcare to technology. For example, artificial intelligence right now is moving really rapidly. And one basic idea for Congress, based on precedent, is to create a new agency of tech experts who would then write regulations over time, like an FDA or SEC, but for technology. There's even bipartisan support for that. But the hard right opposes that kind of federal power. Steve Bannon, for example, has spent years.
I do agree, though, that, that would be a pretty slippery slope, because I really don't want Joe Biden neoliberals policing the internet. And like, what does that even mean? What, regulatory, so I do agree that there's definitely concerns there. But at the same time, this is an emerging technology, and social media itself is an emerging technology that has far-reaching ramifications on society. Our government should be, and all governments should have some kind of, some kind of framework to deal with, because like one thing I've always talked about is how social media companies, and by the way, thank you for the follow, but one thing that I hate is that these social media companies can ban you. There's no transparency about why you were banned. There's no transparency. There's no stipulations about, X amount of time. It's just totally arbitrary. They get to do as long as they want, and, they can bring you back whenever they want. And there's no regulatory body to kind of protect me from being harassed, right? Because like sometimes I'll be, false flagged on these. People will report, they get all butthurt. They say I'm a racist, and they say this and that. And then the automatic system kills my account, and now I have to defend. I'm guilty until I'm guilty until I prove myself innocent. And I feel like that's a great place for the government to come in and say, no, you're a social media company. This is how. There's a certain, you have to at the very least you have to give people a 1-sentence explanation as to specifically why they were banned, why that ban button was hit, something. The government can come in and make a social media company say that. So there's an example of a regulation that I don't think would affect free speech, but would actually help you as a consumer of social media, right? It would help you in your account to be like, no, the regulation would also say that, well, there needs to be a proper remediation process that's actually looked at by a human being. You can't just have a robot, from step A to step Z and not have any human interaction whatsoever. You have to have some kind of human eventually look at this case and prove that this person is indeed what you say they are. Anyway, at the same time, though, do I think the neoliberals are that nuanced or capable of such things? We're talking about 80-year-olds. We're talking about some very old, no offense to my... Lenny is an example of someone who's not 80, he's in his 70s, but he's an example of an old person who understands technology no problem and would be able to understand it very well. There was famously a couple of years ago, we heard, I can't remember the politician, but there was a politician, I believe on the left, who had never used email before. a leader in Congress, had never used email before, and that was just a few years ago. Anyway, back to this. We're not going to watch too much more of it.
Railing against what they call the administrative state. His fellow travelers are now hoping today, based on this argument, the court will take today's case arguments and then make a ruling to reverse all that precedent I mentioned.
It's a terrible idea.
Could the court just stand up and say, 40 years, let's cancel it out? Well, led by these new Trump justices, that's what they did on abortion rights.
Yeah,
the idea is to do that again here to kind of clip these so-called agency powers. And the Trump appointees today did sound skeptical on this. The New York Times reporting that they basically seem to be warming to Bannon's side and skeptical of the agencies and whether they are winning too often. Here's just a little part of how that point played out.
Just
in court
ignore
today.
them. That's what they say.
One option would be to say it's ambiguous and therefore the agency always wins. That's what I understood Chevron to mean.
We haven't relied on Chevron over that time. I mean, have we overruled it in practice?
Now, you know how lawyers make things difficult? Sometimes judges make things even more difficult. What they're saying when they say Chevron is just talking about the old case that I mentioned that they might overrule. So that's the name of the case, just like Roe v. Wade. What they're really saying is maybe Chevron's already died. Maybe we can just pretend every time we overrule something that we're not violating the oaths they took, the speeches they gave, the testimony they gave about Roe and other super precedents.
Yeah. No, because they
I
promised
can also tell
that
you
they
that
weren't
some of the
going to break
Obama
these
and Biden
precedents.
appointees were more precedent-friendly today, and Congress hands these powers, as I mentioned, it defers. It's basically even maybe very confident politicians who don't defer on other things in their life, they know they're not doctors. And so the justices were also asking about how the fact is that we know Congress has historically deferred to the people who know things.
If it's consistent with everything that we know that Congress has said, to defer to people who actually know things about these things.
Isn't it sort of impractical and chaotic to have a world in which every undefined term in a statute is subject to litigation?
This is one of those oral arguments today, and the reason why I only played a little bit of it, where
this is all intentional.
The import and the clarity is almost in like complete reverse proportion to the jargon and the very oblique, recondite ways that they're talking. The bottom line is the Steve Bannon mission to gut the administrative state is barreling right through your Supreme Court.
It's happening.
If you haven't heard a lot about that because there's been a lot of the news going on.
If you're tuning off, if you're falling asleep, Steve Bannon knows that. These are the mundane things that are standing in the way of the extreme right-wing party and full control over government. But this change will have radical ramifications on your life. Have a direct result, net negative result on your life. Okay. I mean, yeah, some of it would be kind of cool. Like, you'll be able, if they get what they want, you could do things like, put an incredible amount of alcohol in a sugary soda drink, right? That, and make it all fruity and make it look all nice, right? And well, normally you wouldn't do that because that would be dangerous. You sell the kids, but fuck it, who cares? The gloves are off, the wheels are off, so now we can buy, Four Loko again. We'll get Four Loko back, but all of a sudden, drinking tap water and taking showers, your skin's breaking out in hives because now there's all kinds of new chemicals in your drinking water.
Well, you're going to hear about it right now with one of our esteemed experts, NYU law professor Melissa Murray, who clerked for then Judge Sonia Sotomayor, who knows a thing or two about all of this. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
I challenge you to not talk about Chevron deference or any other of the assorted jargon that they made us do in law school, only because this is so much bigger and more important than that. What did you hear in the courtroom today, and why do so many corporate and business interests want to gut these federal powers?
Well, this was a case about fisheries and whether fisher boats have to have monitors on them that they pay for as per a federal regulation. But really, this entire question goes to the heart of what government does and whether administrative agencies will have the authority to regulate our water, our air, workplace safety, things of that nature. It's the very essence of government. And the reason why so many conservatives have had this particular case in their crosshairs for so long is that regulation makes it harder for corporate entities to make the kinds of outsized profits that they're interested in. Regulation makes it more expensive to operate. It makes it safer for workers and for the consumer, but it does require the regulated industry to absorb some of those costs itself. And if you're someone who wants to make a profit, you want the biggest profit you can, and that's why you're hostile to the prospect of regulation more generally.
I mean, there's probably a SpongeBob episode about why you shouldn't give corporations, untethered ability to pollute at will. There's probably a SpongeBob about that, isn't there? There's at least 17 Captain Planet episodes, I know that, about that very thing. About, why we shouldn't give oil companies and plastics companies and all kinds of things just the rights to do whatever the hell it wants to Mother Earth. Really bad idea. They make that short-term profit decision every time, and they only feel bad afterwards. Oh, I'm so sorry I gave you cancer. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Going back to my mansion, by the way. Thank you. Bye. SpongeBob fishes up all the jellyfish. Oh, I remember that jellyfish episode. I think I saw that for like 5 minutes on TV one time. I was like, oh, that's cool. There's a lot of jellyfish. That's also in a PlayStation 1 game, SpongeBob PlayStation 1, picking up jellyfish. What are we talking about?
And that's why today is about so much more than fishing. I think it's fair to say, right?
No, it's the very essence of government. Everything we do, for the most part, all of our interactions with government are almost always filtered through administrative agencies. So without the kind of deference that we give to agencies, it would all fall to Congress to actually regulate these things.
Well, you're the professor, not me, but you did say deference.
I mean, I didn't say Chevron deference, so
okay.
I think I'm okay.
You're okay. You're good. I mean, you're the professor. You're going to issue the report card, not me. But I only joke about that because it gets so blurry. But what we're really saying is, if Congress says we need to regulate something, do you have this back-end way to dilute that or not? And again, it's not the job of traditional journalists or law professors to tell Congress or opine on exactly everything they should do. But we are talking about areas where they have already done something for decades. And in the medical arena, in the technology arena, in SEC, I mean, if you're trading and you got your retirement account there, you're a bank or a hedge fund with all of those equities, you've got laws in the books that say trading has to be fair. There can't be insider trading. There can't be these mechanisms that make it unfair.
We're going to get rid of that.
But over decades,
capitalism.
the SEC updates that stuff. When there's some new digital breakthrough where people are using quasi-surveillance or other measures to do what amounts to insider trading, the SEC sits down and figures out whether that's fair or not. We don't have Congress try to make a new law every other year, every time there's a technological breakthrough, to rewrite securities laws. And I guess the question is, if they go far enough against this, is that the only alternative? Because that doesn't seem possible.
Nightmare.
So you're exactly right. In most cases, Congress can't see around corners. They can't see what's coming in the distance. In many cases, the people who we've elected to Congress don't have the expertise to regulate in some of these areas where technology is really advanced and you need specialized expertise in order to regulate properly. So this means that we could have a situation where we're allowing untutored non-experts to make this kind of policy. But I think more realistically, what's going to happen here is that rather than agencies making these decisions, it's going to fall to federal courts to determine whether or not these regulations make sense and are.
And these courts are biased. Mitch McConnell just went through a whole round of installing right-wingers during the Trump administration into these courts. Thank you, YouTubing. We're just talking about the Bannon plan to hollow out democracy, and he's lighting a nuke to literally the entire concept of regulations. I mean, so what's the plan then? Just wipe it all out, or if you wipe out the agency, then that's all the regulations. That's it. That's the whole agency. And you're like, well, we'll just replace the things that we actually want We'll just do individual laws. We'll get rid of the whole agency and then just do an omnibus bill, pass specific laws that'll have a bunch of loopholes and a bunch of ways around them. And, you know, and then later down the line, they'll get read, they'll get changed and arbitrarily.
Consistent with the terms of the statute that Congress enacted in the 1970s or wherever Congress did this. And so that's an arrogation of power to the federal courts. And it's important to remember the federal courts right now are literally stocked with conservatives that were put in place during the Trump administration. Donald Trump, a president that was not elected by the popular vote, didn't win the popular vote, managed to put more federal judges in place than Barack Obama did in the same period of time, and indeed in 8 years worth of time. So there are a lot of conservative judges, and they're hostile to this kind of regulation, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So my final question is big picture, even beyond this case. What does it tell you that in law, which is supposed to be more traditional, let alone our politics, which you don't have to get into tonight, that so-called conservatives, Federalist Society judges and justices who say they are conservative,
originalists,
are no longer conserving anything. They're not standing by precedent on matters large and small.
Yeah, wow, what a great fucking point over here. You know, why don't you look at the only entity that is literally capable of pushing back on this, Ari? How much finger wagging can that index finger do, man? Yeah, they're shameless. They're going for it. They're doing it. They got a plan. They're executing it. You know that guy that you're constantly carrying water for, Joe Biden and his Democratic Party? The only entity that we have to prevent any of this. But I guess there's really nothing he can do at this moment, can he? The judges are installed. Supreme Court justices are installed. You know, just like with abortion, he's got to sit back and take it. The failures of the Obama administration and the Democratic Party during the Hillary Clinton fiasco, I guess, are to blame. The neoliberals from back then. Joe Biden, of course, was totally in full support of the Hillary Clinton and all that, you know. He fully agreed with it. Campaigned, I'm sure he did campaigning. So here's President Joe Biden now fully agreeing with right-wing Heritage Fund style conservatism. You know, it's statement over here basically saying to the Republicans, hey, I want to do everything you want to do. I want to, you know, I want to remove the right to asylum. I want to kick people out immediately without any due process. You've totally won. I want, you know, this would have been scoffed at by Democrats 20 years ago as an extreme right-wing agenda. Now, full-throated support for it. After Obama, of course, the deporter-in-chief. President Biden, of course, was vice president at the time. Had no problem with this. Continuing this. Nice to see socialist done left here, soaked done left. This policy is inhumane and violates the human rights to seek refuge. It's a pathetic attempt to win over racist swing voters, and that's very true. And as we saw with Hillary, ineffective, does not work. Why would I get Trump light when I got the real Trump at home? Why? Why? Because you're also kind of, you know, because, I mean, what do you think Fox News is going to say about this? You know? What do you think they're going to say? Oh, President Biden's on our side and blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, he's coming after us. He's blah, blah, blah. We can't let this happen. Right now, the right-wing media apparatus is currently supporting this entire project, this program that the Republicans are enacting to say no to their own legislation so that, you know, so that Biden doesn't get a win. How is this a win, by the way, for Biden and the left? Oh, we're going to keep fentanyl out of the border and no. You're just going to, what are you going to do to the women and children that show up? Kick them out immediately. So instead of processing them, I do agree that the system needs to be, it's completely insane. People cross the border, walk right over to Border Patrol to start the process of filling out the paperwork. Clearly something's wrong. Because what's wrong though? These people are not getting citizenship. When we got all kinds of room. What are we, out of space? We out of space in the United States? Oh, there's just no more homes, no more apartments. We can't do anything with them. Everything costs money. Can't do anything. We got hardworking people showing up by the busloads, and we don't know what to do with them. Are you serious? The United States government works program. Anybody? We got crumbling infrastructure, crumbling roads. We got people who want work so bad that they're going to break the law to get over here and work. Oh, we don't know what to do. Well, we don't know. The only thing we could do is just bigotry and racism. That's all we got. Violence. We got no solutions but right-wing ones. This is an embarrassment. This is a joke, dude. This is supposed to be a left-wing president? I feel it's appropriate. I do this quite often, but I'm going to do it again. I need to remind Joe Biden of the poem at the base of the Statue of Liberty by Emma Lazarus, The New Colossus. Joe Biden, I hope you're listening. Joe Biden, who wants to implement an extreme right-wing immigration agenda, who agrees with Barack Obama, the deporter-in-chief. Please listen to the poem at the Statue of Liberty.
With conquering limbs astride from land to land. Not like
against the Statue of Liberty
giant
now?
Of Greek fame.
God damn it.
With conquering.
Are we against the Statue of Liberty now, Joe Biden?
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that Twin Cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my light beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus.
Immigration makes us stronger. Having millions, thousands, millions of hardworking people who desperately want to come over here and make our country better is a good problem, and it should be addressed as such. I think it's really interesting. The right-winger in the chat here, here's a beautiful poem, and decides to inject it, take a shit all over it. By the way, the statue was made in France, not in China. But so that's what one of the greatest symbols of America, the Statue of Liberty. You think we should just destroy, huh? For what? For Trump? For this disgusting Republican Party? Shameless, disgusting Republican Party? I see. Your name is MAGA Conda, sir. How am I supposed to take your comments? How'd they ship the statue to New York? In pieces. I can random look it up. There's all kinds of fun documentaries about the Statue of Liberty. It was built in France and then shipped over here to America and put together. It was actually fully assembled in France and then disassembled and then gifted to America. Misogynistic Authoritarian Grifters Association, courtesy of the giant orange pig. I mean, yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is fun. I don't necessarily disagree with it. But we have a deeper problem in our politics, and name calling, unfortunately, is not going to fix it. Shaming is important, though. We do need to shame. Lion bearing for a few decades before they got crowdfunding to actually build it up for once. Oh, yeah. There's an interesting story about the statue. Further example that the right wing they're going for it. There is an acknowledgement that they are breaking precedent, that they are breaking laws, they are breaking some of these sacred laws, some of these laws that, you know, make America what it is, that are at the core of the American identity. They have accepted that they need to destroy these things to achieve the goal of permanence, of relevancy. They see the writing on the wall. They know they're a very unpopular party. And, I can't remember who is the scholar. Maybe Strategy Member could look it up if you have time. But there was a, very smart person who said eventually the Republicans will realize that they can't win with democracy. And they'll have to, come to a decision. They'll either have to change their party or they'll have to get rid of democracy. They have chosen to get rid of democracy. And it's not being hyperbolic. That's not me being partisan. It's not me being, I'm so pro left wing. I'm just so hyperbolic that, I can't see the forest from the trees and everything I see is a Nazi and everything is just an extreme right winger. No, these are concrete steps that are being taken to subvert our democracy. And those aren't slogans. Those aren't words. Subverting the democracy means you no longer have the ability to vote your way out of problems. You lose the right to a voice. And it's like, I don't even vote. I don't even care. I assure you, it will affect you. God, it will affect you in every way. Your day-to-day, your job, your relationships, everything. Oh, this asshole's back. Cool. I wanted to show this being posted in Sherman Posting, which is, of course, the really funny subreddit for people who are pro-union, and they make fun of the conservative desire for a civil war, and they also make fun of the pathetic attempt of the South to hold on to slavery with their civil war. It's basically a subreddit to shame Confederates. It's really great. Welcome back, Rob. But what we see here, 15 states, governors from 15 states have now announced support for Texas in its border dispute with the federal government, with some sending National Guard units. And I'll show you what this is about here. Texas is defying the Supreme Court, who said, no, you're not allowed to put up razor wire and makeshift saw blades on flotation devices that are intended to maim and kill people. No, you're not allowed to set up death traps at the border to accomplish your bigoted agenda. Texas is defying this order and continuing to put up razor wire. Are we honestly supposed to believe that every inch of this razor wire is going to be patrolled by a human being and a camera and all that? Because if not, it's going to take about 5 seconds, maybe about 45 seconds. I don't know, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes to snip your way through this razor wire? Am I the only one sitting here who thinks that this is some kind of effective deterrent for people? Unless you got cameras, dude. A camera is going to be more effective than razor wire at this point. What you think Mexican people don't have wire cutters? No? All right.
Federal border. A standoff between Federal Border Patrol and Texas state officials is intensifying following a Supreme Court ruling in favor of the Biden administration. Laura Barone-Lopez has more.
Earlier this week, the Supreme Court said U.S. Border Patrol agents could remove razor wire that the state put in place along the Rio Grande River. The Homeland Security Department is demanding immediate access to a section of the border being blocked with razor wire and fencing. But Texas Governor Greg Abbott is doubling down, blocking the agents from...
This is great. Oh, but look at this. These are those flotation devices with the razor blades in between right here. But yeah, no, do it, Texas. I mean, secede. Go for it. Go for it, dude. What a disaster. Do a little Texit. Do a Brexit. Do a Brexit for Texas. Remove yourself from the union. I better not see any American flags flying in that fucking in New Texonia. I better not see one American flag flying on that pole. Oh, we're still Americans at heart. No, you're not. You're traitors to the union. And now you're fucked. Let's not forget who spends more federal money. The right-wing states. They take assistance gathered from California and they spend money and they spend it in Texas. Let's do a Brexit. Let's do it. Brexit. Texit. Brexit. That's funny.
Entering the area and saying Texas's constitutional authority is, quote,
idiots.
The supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. Joining me to discuss this further is Stephen Vladeck, a professor at the University of Texas School of Law. Professor Vladeck, thanks so much for joining. Republican Governor Abbott is saying Texas is going to hold the line, and it's unclear when or if this razor wire is going to be removed. Who ultimately has the authority over the border here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear under the Constitution, under our precedents, that immigration policy, control of the border really is ultimately in the federal government's purview. But Laura, I think it's just as clear that Governor Abbott wants this confrontation and that he's willing to take this battle all the way back to the Supreme Court before he's going to stand down.
And Governor Abbott is claiming that he has this authority under the U.S. Constitution because the federal government isn't protecting Texas against a, quote, invasion. That's the way he's been describing it. Is this a reasonable interpretation of the Constitution?
No, and in two different respects. I mean, the first is that obviously, an influx of asylum seekers, however many we're talking about, is not what the founders had in mind when they used the word invasion. But Laura, second, even if you're not persuaded by that, the clause Governor Abbott's relying on in Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution was dealing with the specific scenario of the ability of states to respond to invasions until federal authorities were able to respond. This is a time in American history when the federal military was small, it was very spread out, it took weeks to travel, Congress was usually out of session. There's no support in our history, there's no support in founding era materials for the idea that states can decide for themselves that they're under invasion, and even if the federal government disagrees, that somehow it's the state's determination that would control.
Recently, 3 migrants drowned in the Rio Grande in this section that Border Patrol agents have been trying to access. And all this comes as a number of Republican governors still say that they support Texas, that they stand by Texas. What are the larger implications of this standoff between Texas and the federal government?
I mean, the larger implications are pretty staggering. It's not just the specter of a physical confrontation between federal and Texas officials along the border in Eagle Pass. It's also basically a relitigation of a debate that we had in American law for the first 70 years of this country about the ability of states to effectively nullify those federal laws that they disagreed with, that they thought were unconstitutional. For better or for worse in our constitutional system, federal law supersedes state law, even when we don't like how the federal government is or is not enforcing those federal laws. The remedies for those disagreements are not to allow every state to go out on their own and to have their own policies. The remedies, if you really have a problem with the policies, is to change the people who are making them. Otherwise, it's a federal system, Laura, in name only.
I mean, it literally strikes at the heart of our unity. It literally strikes at the heart of our unity, of the entire system, and that's intentional. And they're okay with it. They want it. They have no idea what they're getting into, but that's what they want. Go back, Laney's.
And Governor Abbott also claims that the federal government has, quote, broken the compact with states. What do you think he means by that? And have states in the past used that language to justify defying the federal government?
Yeah, I mean, the compact theory of the Constitution is a pretty outlier view, especially these days, about the way the Constitution was formed. The basic premise is that the federal government, the constitutional system we have, was formed by the states, and therefore the states can control its terms. That was the argument on which the southern states predicated secession and helped to precipitate the Civil War. There's a reason why we tend not to hear that much of it these days. Again, I mean, I think there's a lot of folks who are going to have strong.
Yeah, I'm just doing U.S. today, but that is definitely very interesting stuff. I'll put something in the Discord, and we'll definitely bring this up next time for sure. For those who don't know what's going on, looks like Palestinians slam suspension of UNRWA funding by some Western nations. We got the article right here, Al Jazeera, but what can you do? There's plenty of others. But yeah, we should definitely talk about that for sure next time. Sorry, I got like a muscle cramp here. I'm not rubbing my nipple.
Views about whether the Biden administration is or isn't doing what's best for the country at the border. But the way to air those disagreements is through the federal electoral process. In a world in which states can follow this version of the compact theory as a justification for interfering with federal.
Laney, I see you want me to debunk this PragerU video. I don't waste my time with that kind of garbage. I mean, yeah, I'm not really going to waste my time with that, but I don't know. God, was Hitler far right or far left? They're still trying to do this. They're still trying to say because Hitler used the word socialism that he represents socialism. Even though all of his ideas are firmly far right, the reason why they're doing this is so that they can reclassify the definition of what they are. You know, because if you reclassify Hitler as a left-winger, as a socialist, then you reclassify every single right-wing position, right? You completely flip the spectrum. You completely confuse everything. So that's why they're attacking that. That's why they're trying to do this. It's once again, it's like they've found the X factors, they've found the sources, and they're sniping directly at those sources, right? Steve Bannon says one of the big hindrances to this right-wing dictatorship is this regulatory state, this these systems that are functioning without intervention from biased Republicans that biased politicians don't have full access to. We need to remove that, replace those with czars, that are partisan, that we have full control over. That's what this is. That's what the whole thing is. That's why they're trying to reclassify Nazism as left-wing ideology, right? And the only thing that they have is that Hitler disingenuously called his movement socialist. That's the only, and the reason why he did that is that because that was the term du jour. Yeah. So that's the best you're going to get out of my debunk of that video, Laney. There you go. That's all you get. I don't know, Davin. I don't know. We'll see.
Authority. What's to stop California from doing that to the next Republican president?
The first, I think, were the trans people
from doing that to the next Republican president. And then we're talking about a system in which the states have all the power and the federal government is basically impotent to do anything.
Well, they don't care
Stephen
about
Vladeck of the University of Texas.
There's no point in reminding them what the Nazis were actually doing, right? Because they know what the Nazis actually were. That's why they're actively trying to, reclassify and recontextualize, because they know full well what the actual history is. So there's no point in pointing out those. They know them. They know them. They're subverting them. And of course, the people that are just stupidly repeating them are not going to listen to you because it's some kind of game that they want to win with you. They don't want to have a real debate about facts. All you need to do is watch an hour's worth of History Channel, but no, we can't do that. But no, the first of the concentration, maybe not the first of the concentration camps. I think the first people that were victimized, otherized, were the trans people and other sexes, right? But the communists and the social democrats were not far behind. But no, guys, they were the real left-wingers. It's pretty disgusting. Prager, Dennis Prager is a pretty disgusting human being. Yeah, PragerU is a disgusting human being. He really, because he's trying to tell you up is down, left is right, sky is red. You know what I mean? He's trying to reclassify one of the most horrific events in human history incorrectly for his own political purposes. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. The shamelessness, the level of shamelessness you would have to be like, no, I'm gonna convince millions that up is down. No, Laney, I haven't seen that one. Even the earliest stages, the Nazis had running street battles with the actual socialists. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a great video. In our documentary section. It's a dramatization of Hitler, really, really early days and the internal struggles that he has, gaining leadership inside of the party. Can't quite remember the name of it. But anyway, it's in the documentary section of the Discord. Heavily recommended. Can't quite remember the name. So this is just an article that further covers what we just covered. I'm not going to read it here. Megaconda, ignore that. PragerU. A fat piece of shit partisan grifter made a YouTube video, and it's kind of slick with funny animations. Go ahead and read it. This is just, an article that kind of covers everything. If you want more specific information, if you want, what's the nuts and bolts of this? What's the ups and downs? Tell me everything. Right here. Go ahead and read it. There's the article in the chat. Just information for you there to help you. This is very important. This is very important. And I like before, we're not going to watch this whole clip. And if this is repeating information, if this is just repeating shit we've already heard from the previous video, I'll put a stop to it. But it's important to understand how this is happening. It's very wonky. It's very, I want to go to sleep. We're not watching tanks blowing up. What are we doing? Switching it over to Asmongold so I can watch this loser play a fucking MMO for hours. One of the most boring treadmill style games. Why not just a live stream of a guy pulling a slot machine for hours, huh? Oh, that exists too. What am I talking about? So I'm so sorry that this isn't, we're not watching Russians getting their ass spanked right now. But this is literally a foundational element of American democracy, of American life being attacked. And it might happen before the election, and it's already a foregone conclusion because these judges are already there. They're installed. Thank you, Laney. So this might be something like this might already be happening, and this might be something that, if this isn't fixed immediately. You think we got a problem with panels popping off of planes, huh? You think we got a little problem there, huh? What happens when you can't sue the airlines for any reason whatsoever, no matter what happens?
Reagan's key campaign promises upon assuming the president Ronald Reagan's key campaign promises upon assuming the presidency in 1981 was to reduce the size and influence of the federal government and to promote deregulation in order to stimulate the economy. Today, the so-called administrative state, this is what is used derogatorily.
Yeah, derogatorily. So these are the targets of Steve Bannon, right? All these unelected bureaucrats, you know, who are woke and they're against our right-wing agenda and they're biased against us and they won't let us live in the America that we want to live in, and they're unelected and they hate you and they're brown and scary and say, oh, did I say brown? Whoops, I didn't mean to say that. But you know, they believe in multiculturalism and they believe in letting immigrants infect our society and they're going to replace us all. And I'm not racist though. I'll never be racist. I can't believe you even call me racist. How dare you? How dare you? I don't know what I'm talking about, right? No, we got to get rid of them. So, Glimp, you're about to get what you want. Can you specify how it's going to make your little sack boy life better when these regulatory agencies that make sure that companies can't poison our food and water and etc., getting rid of them, how is that going to make your life better? Give me one concrete example of one of these disgusting federal bureaucracies getting in the way of your happiness or progress in your life. Okay, that's two non sequiturs. I'm giving you one more opportunity to say something worth a damn before I stick a boot up your butt. I'm getting serious. Cursing.
A huge piece of our federal governing system. Under the executive branch, there are 15 departments: Department of State, Treasury, Interior, Education, Agriculture, Justice, Commerce.
Booga, booga. I hate immigrants. You're so wrong. You're clueless. Left is dumb. Are you being ironic? Is this a bit? Is this a joke?
They go on. And within those departments, there are more than 400 agencies and sub-agencies that employ 2 million Americans. Now, these agencies, among other functions, are the regulatory bodies upon which we rely in nearly every aspect of our daily lives. Experts at the EPA regulate pollutants. The Department of Transportation comes up with safety standards for cars and highways. Agriculture makes sure our food is safe. FDA determines the drugs we consume. OSHA and the Department of Labor keep workers safe. They protect their rights. This big, complex nation has big, complex systems to keep it running. But for decades, even before Reagan gave that speech.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. You know, 2 million federally. I mean, that's unbelievable. 2 million people. Oh my God, employed by the federal government. So do you think you're going to get that money? You think that money is going to come back to you? Is that what it is? We're going to fire 2 million people, replace them with what? Maybe 100,000 people? Some really thin skeletal body? What's that going to make the DMV look like? What's that going to make the post office look like? Huh? Oh, we don't need any of those people. They're doing nothing. What? They're just on Facebook all day. Yeah, they're on social media talking how bad Trump is. Yeah. I'm spending my taxpayer money for these liberal woke bureaucrats to be on social media to make fun of my emperor. It looked like Destiny. He gets a lot of pussy, and I believe is a millionaire. So are you trying to hit on me? 2 million federally employed. My town pays a third party for some of its DMV services. Changes can be made. Oh, okay. Privatize it, huh? Yeah, privatize it. Yeah. So right now, do you have to pay to go to the DMV? If the DMV was fully privatized, do you think you'd be able to just use the DMV services without having to pay for them? You do understand that the services you enjoy through the DMV are paid for by your taxes. And that if that framework was no longer there, you're now paying. And who knows? Should we have DMV companies compete with each other? Huh? Oh, my driver's license is holographic. I had to pay an extra $20 for it. Really? This is the world you want? Sounds like a hellscape. Sounds like a hellscape. And before I kick you both out, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to give me one concrete example of how this is going to make your life better. right? You said there's a private entity running your DMV. Is that making it better? You'd enjoy, so you want money out of your pocket. So you got to buy your driver's license. You got to do all this. And now you think it'd be a really good option to pay to what? Cut the line? What, like at Disneyland? That's what you want. You want to turn your DMV into Disneyland. The money heat sink, the place where money disappears from your wallet. You think this is going to help make your life better? This is going to make your life better. Okay. I know you don't give any fucks. You're literally you're working tooth and nail to install a fascist dictatorship, and you're over here making arguments about how, oh, the 2 million federal employees, they need to go. But you have no concept of what you want to replace that with. You just want to get rid of people. You just want to fire a bunch of people. And that is somehow supposed to make your life better. Your pathetic, sad little sack boy life. If we just fire 2 million, we just get rid of them. You like that money is going to come back to you. What do you think, you're going to get a check in the mail? Huh? We're going to get a check in the mail? Replace them with AI. That'll be a lot of fun. Going to the DMV is so much fun now. Working really well in Argentina? Well, is it? We don't know yet. He's going to go for it. He's cutting away. He's replacing everything with a dollar. He said there would be an economic crisis. He basically said, there's going to be one. And that happened. But we'll see. Hey, you know, if it's even a mild success, everyone in the world is going to be like, look, see, anarcho-capitalism works. See, anarcho-capitalism works.
There have been debates about the size of government and the democratic nature of accountability, often in conservative circles. In 2018, as Trump had already appointed an historic number of federal judges,
what is he wearing?
Including his first Supreme Court pick, Neil Gorsuch, who had a long history of opposing federal regulations. The White House counsel, Don McGahn, said in plain terms exactly what the Trump administration was going to do. Quote, there is a coherent plan here where actually the judicial selection and the deregulatory effect are really the flip side of the same coin.
Effort.
With courts stacked with Trump appointees across the country, the coherent plan was well underway. The Supreme Court has taken up 3 major cases this term that take aim at the very structure of the so-called administrative state and at the constitutionality of how they function. These cases on their own, but especially together, will call into question the function of our government as we know it. Today,
I'm wearing a D for Dracula shirt. The Dreamcast game. Kind of hard to see there. I shouldn't be criticizing people's clothing.
Today we're focusing on one of those cases, SEC versus Jarkessi. In short, George Jarkessi is a right-wing activist and political commentator who is also a hedge fund manager. He got in trouble with the Securities and Exchange Commission for fraud.
Big shock.
The SEC found that he misrepresented how his funds were run, that he paid himself and his partner excessive fees, that he inflated his assets' value. The SEC responded in a very standard way, fining him and prohibiting him from certain kinds of investment work. Jarkessi contested the SEC's ruling, but he didn't stop there. He argued that the SEC's entire regulatory process, including the role of administrative law judges, was unconstitutional. SEC versus Jarkessi and the other 2 cases taken up by the Supreme Court take aim at the powers of the so-called administrative state and at the very functioning of our government.
At its core,
they attack the constitutionality.
It's intentional. And look, the guy is a right-wing hedge fund. They know what they're doing. And they know that these are cases that the right-wing ghouls are fishing for. They know that. They know all this. And it's a direct snipe against all regulations everywhere. Why go after specific ones when you can literally destroy the entire regulatory framework? Oh, the chuds in the chat. Oh, that'll make my pathetic life better. Hell yeah. 2 million. You don't think 2 million people, that's a bit excessive? For a country the size of the United States? I don't know. Do you? The United States. The United States, big ass motherfucking country, 2 million people. Yeah, it sounds like a lot. I don't know. We might actually need them. Do I have a favorite chud? Yeah, every morning I take my favorite chud.
Of how agencies are funded. They attack Congress's ability to delegate responsibilities to the agencies, and they attack the constitutionality of how agencies are allowed to adjudicate matters. Just last year, the Supreme Court ruled against the EPA in a decision that severely limited agencies' regulatory power. In that case, the EPA's ability to regulate carbon dioxide. Justice Elena Kagan wrote in the dissent in support of the EPA, saying that the court, quote, does not have a clue, I'll read it here, does not have a clue about how to address climate change, yet it appoints itself, instead of Congress or the expert agency, the decision maker on climate policy. I cannot think of many things more frightening, end quote. The fact that the Supreme Court has even agreed to hear the SEC case and other cases that threaten the administrative state is alarming. Exactly. It signals the court's appetite to tear down or at least chip away at a crucial check and balance of the American government.
Steve
Without
Bannon
the full use
chops.
of these federal agencies, who prevents insider trading? Who makes sure we have clean air and water, that our food is safe to eat, that our roads are up to snuff?
Woke.
And by the way, this whole effort to dismantle the administrative state would hand even more decision-making power and more responsibility to the Supreme Court and to Congress, a Congress that is notoriously incapable of deciding much of anything at the moment. The question is, do we want agencies staffed with experts in their respective fields to design and enforce regulations for how we operate, or do we want Congress and a few appointed judges to make those decisions? These cases do not have the same name recognition or obvious immediate consequences as other landmark cases we've seen this Supreme Court deliver in the last few years, like the Dobbs decision to end the right to abortion or its decision to overturn affirmative action. But these cases cannot go unnoticed. These are cases that have the potential to upend systems upon which we rely to protect ourselves, our water, our economy, our food, and our planet. Joining me now, Melissa Murray, a professor at NY.
She's getting all, she's all over the place. Good for her. Hey, you know what? She's got, you know, she is identified. She has identified the right issue. Okay, she's not talking about the Kardashians. She's not talking about any bullshit. She's talking about literally. Our entire lives changing. Good for her. You want to see the rest of this clip? I'll go ahead and give you the link. But it's probably the same stuff. Great room, by the way. What a beautiful little room she's got there. Couch there. Looks very comfortable. So I wanted to show this because hopefully in the hour that I've been bloviating about this, you've gotten some idea of how important this is, of how critical this is, of the danger of this. So now let me show you 2 minutes of how the right is framing this. And we got a little taste of it in our chat, right? But look at how the right is framing this. And then we're going to go down these comment section. We're going to go down these comment sections, and you're going to see they're buying it hook, line, and sinker. Poor uneducated folks, who want their life, who are actively cheering on their life getting much worse. Their life getting more unsafe, more cancers, just everything. Oh, the nanny state. Yeah, well, get rid of the nanny state. I can live how I want to live. Are you seriously having problems living how you want to live? What in the world do you want to do to yourself that the federal government is saying you can't? Yeah, well, I want to drink arsenic. That's my right. It will kill you, sir. Yeah, well, you can't tell me what I can and can't do. This goes back to seatbelts. Right is right. 9 out of 10, yellow sweater. I'm respectfully looking.
Return yet another major case, this one about the power of federal agencies. And while you may think the decision won't impact you, our chief legal correspondent, Katie Barlow, live to explain how it will. Hi, Katie.
Well, Marina, federal agencies have a lot of power. They make decisions that affect the quality of the air we breathe, the roads and bridges we travel, medicine we take. And the question in this case is about who has the power to decide when the law is unclear. Is it judges who are supposed to say what the law says? Or is it these federal agencies that are subject matter experts in water, transportation, or health issues? Now, for 40 years, courts have been following a Supreme Court decision that called Chevron that says that judges are really supposed to defer to agencies when the law is unclear. But that may be about to change. A group of fishermen are challenging a government regulation that requires them to carry government observers on their fishing boats and to pay for it. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says it has the power to do that. The fishermen say the agency is overstepping its authority from Congress. Right now, if a law is unclear, judges defer to what the agency says.
And that's where the government almost automatically wins. The government's argument just has to be within the realm of acceptability, the realm of plausibility. And so anything within that ballpark, Chevron instructs lower judges that they have to rule in the government's favor.
Getting in the way of business. Yeah.
Conservatives have two problems with that. One, it takes judging away from judges. They argue that
we should let people just fish how they want to fish, right? You're throwing dynamite in there. Who cares? What, you're trolling the bottom of a seabed and ruining a coral reef? Well, get some bootstraps, coral reef. Okay, I got quarterly profits. The regulatory agencies getting in the way of small businesses, you know, like this fisherman company started by a right-wing hedge fund millionaire. Getting in the way of, oh, you want to make sure I'm fishing correctly, want to make sure I'm not doing things. You know what some of these guys will do? They'll put weights and stuff in the fish. They'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. They'll stuff fish inside of fish, right? Make them heavier. There's a reason, you know, it's funny actually. Look up, when do yourself a favor, you want to have some fun? Look up a crazy, stupid regulation and then look up the history of that regulation and why that exists. And you're like, oh shit, somebody was putting their dick in the machine. Yeah, I kind of don't want dick juice all over my Pop-Tarts. That's a good regulation, actually. Seems kind of silly not to have a dick-sized hole on your Pop-Tart machine. That's kind of dumb. I want to put a dick-sized hole in my... I'm not going to fuck my Pop-Tart machine, but I need a dick-sized hole, and now the government's telling me I can't put a dick-sized hole in my Pop-Tart machine. Oh, then I look up the law. Oh, someone was fucking the Pop-Tarts. Shit. Maybe that does make sense, that regulation. Now, that isn't the case with all regulations. Some regulations are like, okay, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. But for every one of those, there's 10 rock-solid regulations that you absolutely want there. You know, regulations that prevent entire panels from popping off of planes while they're in the air? Stuff like that. If we had no regulatory body, Boeing and Alaska Airlines would have just like put out a quick little PR statement. Yeah, we had a little whoopsie. Sorry, bye. You know, no one can sue us. No one can sue us. We're not liable to anybody, and no one can sue us. But it's a one-time thing. We're not really going to do anything about it. Instead, what do we have? They're like, oh yeah, we grounded every plane. We're taking apart every plane. We're checking every bolt. We're finding a bunch of issues. The reason why they're doing that is because of regulations, jackass. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're losing millions of fucking dollars right now because of this boondoggle. You don't think they want to put those MAX 9s right back up in the fucking air? Woo! Holy shit, man. And you got these poor $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year folks who are just going to get completely reamed by the multi-billion-dollar corporations that they depend on their livelihood for. They're like, yeah, I think Jeff Bezos should be able to literally do whatever the hell he wants. That's going to help my life. Yeah, no, everything should be privatized. My healthcare, everything. Because I love paying out of my pocket. I love that part. I love taking my wallet out and giving money to everything that I do and everything. That's how I want to live my life. Says who, dude? Says who? Maniacs.
forces judges to defer to agencies when they should be the ones saying what the law is. And government agencies change their minds sometimes with a new president. So people come to rely on a decision about Medicaid coverage, for example, but that changes with the next president. So people can't rely on agency decisions because they flip-flop with whoever the president is.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The implications that will be most apparent in the healthcare area are that things won't work as smoothly. It's sort of throwing sand in the gears of the administrative agency, which in turn will slow down, could potentially cause problems for operations of hospitals, how health insurance plans operate.
Nightmare. Okay,
Siding with-
I'm talking dead and dying people not able to get into the hospital because we need to check. Do you have a credit card? Yeah, there's a $1,000 prepay just to get in through the door. And then we'll look at you, and then there's a second payment for another $3,000 for treatment. But you can't come in through the door unless you can pay that $1,000. I mean, you think, oh, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount. Look at what healthcare is right now. Oh, I want that entire cost. I don't want a regulatory agent. I don't want any kind of. I want that entire cost put onto me because I love freedom.
With the fishermen here would mean overturning that 40-year precedent, something that President Biden's Solicitor General said would be a shock to the legal system. And after 4 hours of oral argument, it looks like a majority of the conservative justices are poised to do just that. We'll expect a decision by June. Guys.
So, I mean, to give Fox, I can't believe I'm saying this, but to give this Fox News segment a little credit, they did cover kind of both sides. They tried to address both sides somewhat. So do you think that their audience picked up on that? Or do you think that their audience is just kind of hearing what they want to hear, the parts that they want to hear, and kind of ignoring the rest? What do you think? Well, let's find out here. The Supreme Court, let me just get some tunage here. The Supreme Court's job is to enforce the Constitution of the United States of America, U.S., not unelected bureaucrats, period. Unelected bureaucrats, right, guys? If only lower courts would honor the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Where in the Constitution does it say that corporations and multi-billion-dollar entities can exploit people? It's about time the government bureaucrats were reined in. Hey, we're going to fire all these people. Then what? Oh, well, we'll streamline everything. Then I'll make everything better. How many times have we heard this from conservatives, by the way? Wasn't this Brexit? Remember Brexit? Oh, it'll fix everything. It's literally going to fix everything. All we need to do is break everything. And then we're going to put everything back together and it's going to work even better. It's going to work even better. We're going to reset the bone. And it's going to be more efficient. Things are going to be better. I'm not a Brexit expert, but total failure. We hear this from conservatives quite a bit. Break it, destroy it. Get it out of the way. Then we'll fix it. We'll only, maybe there's a couple good things. Reset the bone. Maybe there's a couple good things in there, so we'll just pass individual laws for those. But everything else will get out of the way, and then, then a business will get better, and then your life will get better. Justices really need to end this. The ATF will lose their unearned teeth. So I'm seeing a lot of this, right-wingers wanting to burn down the whole house to take out the ATF or the IRS. ATF and IRS are, famous boogeymen of the right because, the right likes to commit crimes. And, the right likes to hoard weapons illegally. They don't like having regulations on the arsenals that they own. So let's burn it down, man. Let's have no food and water regulations so that I can have a drum mag on my AR-16 or whatever. And so the IRS can't come after my favorite billionaires. I mean, who are we kidding? The IRS has been so underfunded, it doesn't have enough money to go after proper rich people. The IRS only focuses on small fry guys. Allowing federal agencies to interpret the laws as they see fit presents a conflict of interest as the agencies become the law writers themselves while executing the very same laws. This practice must be stopped. So the federal agencies are not interpreting the laws as they see fit. Lawmakers are going to the agencies and are saying, okay, you got your team of scientists. Is chemical X17 dangerous for human beings? Yes, said the federal agency replies, yes. It's bad for people. So we've banned it. And by the way, there is a whole process for unbanning this stuff. If you're like, no, that's erroneous, you're actually incorrect. Your scientists are incorrect. There's a way to challenge these conclusions already. We see it happen all the time. Oh, but this practice must be stopped and replaced with what, sir? Carte blanche? Literally czars? Literally Russia-style czars? That are just like, yeah, well, DuPont gave my family $500,000, so DuPont can do whatever the hell it wants. Oh, it won't be like that. Our right-wing politicians and our right-wing czars that we install will be honest. They'll have the best interests of Americans at heart. Who thinks that? Nobody. These imbeciles have no idea what they're doing. They're begging for it. They're begging to make their lives worse. They have no idea what they're asking for. Same thing with Brexit. All those people, oh, you're a Ramoner. Oh, you don't know. Oh, jobs will get better. Wages will get better. Oh. Totally wrong. And it's the same story here. Filled to the brim with lies and propaganda about what the reality is. Oh, it's not so bad. You're being hyperbolic. Then it really happens. Oh, Joe Biden should have stopped this. You guys should have stopped us from doing this. They'll say shit like that. We don't really know what's going on. Oh, you should have stopped us. Only after the fact, of course. Funny thing, our constitutional republic never delegated them any power over the people. Yes, it did. When 40 years ago, when this decision was made by the Supreme Court. That's what we want, huh? That's what we want. We want each individual thing legislated and brought forward by Ted Cruz and Louis Gohmert. Folks, last little bit of American news. You know I couldn't leave you hanging because it is America's favorite segment. That mass shooting update. All right, folks. Let's see how many people died in America today. We had 36 U.S. mass shootings so far in 2024. That's more days than out of the month. Congratulations. We hit it. We hit it, folks. More than one shooting a day. 5,922 mass shootings since 2013 and 0 whole days since the last mass shooting. Come on, good guys with guns. Where are my good guys? Where's my good guys? Get them next time, huh? What we should probably do is get more guns. This is clearly a sign that we need more. Till this number starts going up, folks. Come on. Over there in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, 0 dead and 4 injured, gunman unknown. Like to remind you that around 50% or less murders are actually solved in the United States. Over there at Charlotte, North Carolina, 2 dead and 2 injured, gunman unknown. Keep running, buddy. Kansas City, Missouri, 0 dead and 4 injured. Juvenile victim, 1 juvenile who was critically wounded among 4 people shot near a high school. Gunman unknown. I'm sure everyone's in agreement that certainly I would hope the guns were legal in the case here. I mean, I'd hate to see any of this happening with illegal guns. That would be terrible. Over there in New Orleans, Louisiana, right? Yeah. 1 dead, 3 injured, juvenile victim. I just have total brain farts about these sometimes. Juvenile victim, 2 juveniles among the wounded, gunman unknown. Over there in El Mirage, California. I've never been over there. 6 dead? Gunman unknown. Good God, it was a massacre. According to KTLA, 6 people found shot to death in the Mojave Desert. My God. Gangland style, dude. The aerial image of Sky 5 taken on January 24th shows evidence markers where several people were found shot to death. It's like some cartel shit. Oh, this wasn't a revolver. I think these are all shell casings. Wow. Well, that's a total fucking massacre. There you go, folks. There you go. That is Garbage Fuel's mass shooting update. Thank you so much, Garbage Fuel. Garbage Fuel, #1 drink mix company in the world. Garbage Fuel would like to remind you that this is your new reality. This is it. This is your new reality, folks. Oh, you wanted to go to school, you wanted to go to church, you wanted to buy some groceries. Come on, you cuck. Should have been strapped. Been strapped up. That's the message, Garbage Fuel. Why did I get this wrong? New Orleans. I mean, come on. Jesus. I just have brain farts. Huh? All right, folks. Before we say goodbye, after the mass shooting update, I don't know why. I don't know. It's like it gets me down or something. I don't know why. Kids shooting kids at their high school. 6 people dead after a massacre in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I don't know what my problem is, but I just get sad sometimes after the mass shooting update. I don't know what it is. So I've queued up a couple pieces of good news to leave you with. Yes, we are getting close to the end of the stream. I know. Oh, you want me here forever. Oh, why are you leaving us? Because we're having so much fun, right? But no, here's the first piece of good news. OpenAI would have loved to see the mugshots. Too bad they were all gunman unknown. Oh, it's too bad. Well, you know, and Typer, though, crossing my fingers that those are legal guns, though, right? I mean, it's one thing to, like, you know, have like a shooting massacre or whatever, but, you know, you got to make sure those guns are legal. OpenAI seeks to combat the use of ChatGPT for political purposes in the U.S. election, so this is great news. This is good. It's already happening, and this is not going to control all of it. This is not going to contain all of it. But, I mean, the sky's the limit, folks. The sky's the limit. You thought the people you were fighting with on social media were bots before? Well, now there actually might be, right? They might literally be a robot. I'm literally here just to spread propaganda and troll. There is literally, you're not changing my mind. Like, literally, you're not even dealing with a human being with empathy anymore. You're dealing with a script. OpenAI coming up here saying, okay, we're not, you know, if you're a political company, or in this case, a politician, Dean, what's his name? Dean, what's his nuts? Dean Phillips. I, for one, welcome our AI overlords. Simpsons reference. So this is good news. OpenAI, the company that owns artificial intelligence-based chatbot ChatGPT, has announced that it will combat the tools used for political purposes. OpenAI has particularly targeted this initiative as the upcoming 2024 U.S. presidential election. So I can see why they're doing this. They got a product to sell. Their company's blowing up. The last thing they want is a bunch of negative press about how ChatGPT is like destroying democracy because it's being used as a, you know, nasty tool for one side or the other. Now they tell the story about this Dean Phillips guy. He has a chat bot. Listen to this. Dean Bot's creation was funded by the partisan organization Super PAC. We Deserve Better. Ugh. We deserve better, so we just keep voting the same neoliberal corporatist in, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so the suspension occurred after the violation of new rules prohibiting lobbyists and candidates from using ChatGPT for political purposes. In the case of Dean.bot, The tool interacted with voters by responding to questions in the voice of candidate Dean Phillips. And it was saying, I mean, why do people want this? Do people want this? Listen what it was saying. When asked why Democrats should not support President Joe Biden, Dean Bot stated, "While I respect President Biden, data and conversations with Americans across the country indicate a strong desire for change." So wait, this guy is not, this guy's a Republican. Okay. Who wants that? I want a robot to spit talking points at me. I find it hard to believe that people want this. What up, Ice House? Welcome back. Other little bit of good news. Jon Stewart's returning as part-time host of The Daily Show through the election. This is good news. This is good news. You know, I got a lot of problems with Jon Stewart and his friendliness to neoliberal status quo politicians, and even friendliness to right-wing, dangerous right-wingers like John McCain. With that said, he did a really good job with his Apple Plus show, going after some of the worst, people, liars and grifters. He, held them to account, did some real journalism there. So I respect that. He's always been the best Daily Show host, without a doubt. Yeah, kissing Gonzo. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Would be kind of cool, right? Like a super nonpartisan liar bot, right? To see who's lying. The net positive, even with the copious amounts of shit liberty. Yeah, shit liberty. That is a good, yeah, because that's what it is. It's like this neoliberal status quo that a lot of these millionaires don't want to let go of. Yeah, while we watch, that would be cool. It would give me a lot of pressure. It'd be a lot of pressure on me. Now, this thing, is like bullshit level. Like, how much am I bullshitting? It's like, well, I think I know this. I think I know. I don't know. I'm not sure anymore. I don't know anything. I don't know, chatbot. I don't know, man. I don't know what I know anymore. Ah! That's what would be going on in my head while I'm trying to host a show. It's like, I thought I knew what that was. The Houthis I got Orban and Erdogan mixed up yesterday. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But no, I think this is good, even with the shit liberty aside, put so well by Mobile Newman there. Whatever. I'm not going to read all this crap. You want to fillet Jon Stewart? You can read the article here. But I think generally this is good news because I think he does pretty good biting political commentary, and he does a kind of political commentary where people feel more open to ideas. It's just, he's got that charismatic, the exact opposite of what I have, right? Where people around me, they shut down, they start fighting, they put up their armor, right? And they start a battle with me. But people, with Jon Stewart might be able to see some softening of some of these hardened political sides. So I think it's a net gain. So one day a week, we're going to get 1 day a week, but we'll be showing clips. I guarantee you I'll be showing some clips for sure, because I'm sure he's going to be doing some really good stuff. 1 day a week, it's going to be a good show, Yeah, Mobile Newman. I don't disagree, man. We need to replace these neoliberals with real democratic socialists, with real progressives. Doesn't have to be necessarily a democratic socialist, but real progressives. We need to replace these neoliberals and challenge them and primarying them as best we can. Yeah, okay, Comrade Chicken. Okay. Yeah, you're not pro-Russian. You only make some extremely pro-Russian arguments in the chat every once in a while. Yeah, okay. All right, last little bit of good news, and it's an adorable one. From urchin crushing to lab-grown kelp, efforts to save California's kelp forests show promise. Hey. Not bad. Yes, Estonian. Yes, there's like a 50-50 chance right now. I mean, let's take a look just to answer your question real quick. Trump, Biden polls. Don't even need to finish the sentence. So just to take a look at the polls, here we go, 538. Latest polls ending January 24th. I mean, look at these numbers. This is shocking. Let me get it over here. January 22nd, 24th, Ipsos, Reuters, Biden 34, Trump 39%. Trump up 5. RV, Ipsos, Reuters, Trump up 5. Ipsos, Reuters, Trump up 6. I don't know what half these numbers and shit mean. A poll from The Economist here, right-wing rag, but it's only 1% on The Economist. Interesting. +5 for Trump over there from the Bullfinch group. +5 Trump, +9 Trump, +7 Trump. Biden's got 1 over here. General election in Pennsylvania, +8 on Biden. Last little bit of good news I have for you today. From urchin crushing to lab-grown kelp, efforts to save California's kelp forests show promise. This is great news. This is actually great news. Just a little bit from this article. I don't have time to read the whole thing. A welding hammer strapped to her wrist, Joy Hollenbach slipped on blue fins and swam into the churning, chilly Pacific surf one fall morning to do her part to save Northern California's vanishing kelp forests. Hollenbach floated on the swaying surface to regulate her breathing before free diving into the murky depths towards the seafloor. There she spotted her target, voracious, kelp-devouring purple urchins. So I think I might have shown this before, but they're literally going down and killing these urchins. It's a really cool job. Within seconds, she smashed 20 to smithereens. They like crack them open and like rip them open, just like leave the dead urchins, because there's nothing, you can't do anything with them. No one wants to eat them. They just rip them open and just leave them there. The smithereens. If you're angry, it's a cathartic way to get it all out, Hollenbach joked. It's ecologically sanctioned mayhem. It is. It's ecologically sanctioned mayhem. Let's see if we can get a picture here of what these bad boys are. Yeah, so it's these guys right here. These nasty sons of bitches. And they take these hammers right here, crack it open, eviscerate the creature and just, leave the corpse there. Yeah, this is kind of what it looks like right here, as you can see. Ecological? No, it's not genocide. They're not killing all urchins. Blood and roses. But as you can see here, they're suffocating the kelp. They're suffocating everything. So they crack them open. They get them out of there. Oh, urchins don't have culture. Can we not dehumanize urchins, guys? Come on. We're better than this. All right, let's get a little video here. Okay, fair. I'm joking. Come on. We're all having fun. De-urchinize? Oh, good point. Look at these hard sons of bitches. You gotta use a hammer. We're having fun here. Oh, it looks like earwax coming out of there.
Area because the purple urchins are eating the kelp, and there are so many of them.
Oh, so they're not suffocating. They're eating the kelp, and the kelp is, of course, a source of food for any number of species in that same region. So they're starving other species.
You're doing your ecological duty. Sometimes it does feel weird, like you're killing this animal that's a native species, but it's for the greater good.
No, yeah. Not annihilating all urchins. Right? They're not doing a Mao Zedong, right? Mao Zedong, is that how you say it? Mao. Because Mao's big idea was kill all the birds, right? And there was this big...
So with the loss of sea stars...
That caused major ecological starvation
caused a
issues.
lot of stress on the kelp, and the purple urchin population really bloomed. And they are voracious eaters, and they have grazed a lot of the kelp away.
90%. Full kelp forest wiped out. Wow, listen to that. I mean, that is shocking, right? If you got these urchins back, you need to look at this stat right here. By 2020, about 96% of California's bull kelp forests were wiped out. I mean, that's the extinction of all kinds of animals. All kinds of animals. Total sea and urchin death. Yeah. No, Mao wanted to annihilate all the birds, and that caused, all kinds of famine. It was a terrible idea. Yeah, I wonder what caused it, though. That is a good question. Can we make dye with them? Maybe. Yeah. It would be nice to do something
What you used to look out on
them.
this coast and see was just this incredibly dense, beautiful kelp that hosted, up to 1,000 different species. And now when you swim under the water here, what you're seeing is like basically a big parking lot, and it's just covered in urchins as far as the eye can see.
Super invasive. Their predator died. It was in the vid. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay.
In our area, which is marked off by buoys in the water behind me.
Okay, yeah, I totally missed that. Okay. Trouble began 10 years ago when a warm water blob hit the Pacific coast. Then a disease decimated sunflower sea stars, the urchin's main predator. Guys, not to be woke, but it might be global warming. Oh. Stupid woke liberal talking about urchins and crap. Trump would fix this. Trump would fix this in a day. I don't need to know how. I just believe in it.
Water here, what you're seeing is like basically a big parking lot.
Why would China do this?
Covered in urchins as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, strategy member, exactly.
In our area, which is marked off by buoys in the water behind me, we've reduced the urchin population by over 80%.
He'll make a deal with the urchins.
Reached the target density, which was less than 2 urchin per square meter. When we started, there was nothing but rocks and urchin. It was barren. It was nothing but rocks and urchin. And now it's beautiful. It's almost like it used to be.
That's great.
So there's kelp everywhere.
Coming back.
There's fish everywhere.
Yeah, boy. We can fix these problems, okay? We are human. We are humanity. We can identify these problems and we can fix them, and we can coexist, okay? We don't have to be viruses. Tiny razor wire. That does seem a bit, they're getting on like, $10,000 worth of scuba gear, and they got a fucking...
We did see some kelp growing on the outboard lines, which is great. And they got to the surface, which is wonderful, and they were reproductive. We're not going to bring back all of the kelp on this coast with these restoration projects, but what we can do is learn on what works best and then take our lessons learned to areas that are just starting to experience these things and help protect what is left.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, no problem, Typer. I'm glad you enjoyed that story. I think it's really great. And like I said before, like to the doomers out there, have some hope. Okay? Look, you can't. Your cynicism isn't going to let you have real hope, right? Like delusional hope. But if we don't have hope, we have officially embraced nihilism. And if we are officially embracing nihilism, that's it. That's it. It's off the rails. It's off the rails. Trump is the anointed one. That's a good point, Lainey. I didn't think about that. You're telling me we're so back? We're back. Humanity's back. Trump would make a deal with God. God would, say, "What's up, urchins?" That's how the world works, guys. My daughters give me hope. Yeah, my son gives me hope as well, Ponder Monkey. I'd like to give a special garbage fuel thank you to every single one in the chat. All the OGs, they were here right at the beginning. We got Woke Patriot. Mr. Godot was #1 in the chat. We got Chem Goblin. We got who was there at the beginning? If you were there at the beginning, Davin was there at the beginning. Thank you, Davin. But big props to you if you stuck around. All you lurkers, Laney, Chem Goblin, Ponder Monkey, Doomer Boomer there. Came in a little late, no problem. N Typer, thank you so much coming back. N Typer, love to see you in the chat there. Mobile Newman, thank you, Mobile Newman. Crayola Xanath, a lot of OGs. Strategy member coming back real quick. Strategy member being here throughout most of the stream. Thank you. Kissing Gonzo coming back. Just Braden, are you new, Just Braden? Well, thank you for coming here if you are new. Big props to you. Comrade Chicken, don't fuck with me. You're on such fucking thin ice. You wouldn't believe it. Don't fuck with me. Estonian, thank you so much, Estonian. OG Estonian, appreciate it. Thank you for coming back. Big props to you. OG Icehouse. Yo, OG Icehouse. I recognize that name. Thank you for coming back. Do very much appreciate it. I do. The view is the most important thing. Fuck money, you know, fuck the everything else. The social media stuff, it's the view. It's the view. And then the content in the chat, right? The conversation in the chat. But it's that view. And that's the most valuable. So thank you so much. Keyboard Face Mash, I see you over there. Thank you again to Davin for all your contributions. MAGA Conda, you seem to be an irony right-winger, so thank you for coming in. Appreciate you joking around with us. Clutch Cargo, thank you. Bike Shop Guru, Borderline Feline, absolutely lovely folks. Love to see you in here. Thank you for coming back. Rob MQ, thank you, Rob MQ. You guys are great. Thank you. And folks, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to Lenny over there on Twitch. Folks, the solutions to our problems are as easy as 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't have the solution to fix everything, but I do know how you can help contribute to positive change in your life. Step 1, inform yourself. Get to know the world. You're here, so you're doing the right thing. Step 2, join a progressive political organization, union, run for office. You know, you got a progressive politician you like. Maybe you want to volunteer for their campaign. Because step 3, you got to ask yourself, what am I doing for the movement? How am I putting in work? You know, what am I doing once a week, once a month, right? Little baby steps, couple hours, volunteering here, volunteering there. You got to ask yourself, you know, do I want positive change? Do I want to be part of that? It's like, yeah, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. Follow my 3-step program. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Just find the thing that you glom onto. I like single-payer health care, or I like abortion rights. You know, I want my kids to have college education. And there's this progressive politician that, you know, he's got great policies for that. That's the only way to create real change, is to become political activists. That's literally the only way. Okay? Fuck the Jenny Craig solutions to political activism. The only solution is real, nonviolent, direct political action. And it's not impossible. The entire apparatus is terrified of you taking responsibility for your citizenship. Taking responsibility as a citizen. Joe Biden doesn't want it. The Democratic Party doesn't want it. I guarantee you the right-wing fascists don't want it either. But folks, thank you for being here, all you lurkers especially. Big props to Plankton 187 for our ending album here. Volume 3. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East, and glory to the Ukrainian democracy. We're going to be covering more of those topics very, very soon. Covered them yesterday. You know, dictatorship, I don't know. We're getting damn close though. If we're not a dictatorship before, we absolutely will be a dictatorship once Trump gets in. Not immediately. He won't get his day one. He won't get his day one. But by the end of his presidency, will we even have a country? Will there even be a democracy? I don't know. We're going to cover it. Thanks for being here. I am Abandoned Nihilism, a.k.a. the Harbinger. See you next time. It's the News Underground, baby. News Underground, baby. News Underground, baby. Woo! Big props, Pounder Monkey! It's the News Underground. Kissing Gonzo, we crushing it. Fuck out of my chat. Trump supporters scum. Oh yeah, I think fascism cool. I'm through you. Fuck out my chat. That's a complicated question, Lanny's. Just real quick. Is this religion a scam? Real quick before you go. Yeah, kinda. It kinda is and it kinda isn't. The artwork isn't a scam. Hell yeah, dude. It's that underground. I love this track. All right, folks. Philosophy is better than religion, 100%. All right, thanks, Ponder Monkey. Lenny, yo. Thanks, everybody.